No, they think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
My goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. We are 48 hours away from the big fish, Errol the Truth, Spence, from making his much awaited comeback. With Errol being one of my top 3 favorite fighters out here on Z Planet, I'm ecstatic. And I can't wait for him to get back at it like a crack addict. You know, I've been watching, man, and following along. And, you know, originally I had my concerns, but my homie is locked in. And I believe in Spence. And I don't have a long, drawn-out spiel. I just know that it's this series I've been watching lately. I'm waiting for the 3rd season to crank up on the 2nd of August. It's called The Lioness. And it's fire. You know, I've been binge watching that joint. I finished it up yesterday. And I was like, dang, I kept looking and searching. I was like, oh, the new one don't come out until the August the 2nd, but it was an episode on there. And the caption for the episode was, "Beware the old soldier." So I'm watching, and you know, most of the time in this little series, it's like a point in time where somebody will say it. It was one time where it was an image and something happened, and it depicted what the title was, but I'll be looking for, okay, how did they come up with this and where it's going to come in. And she basically had some of her old compadres go on a mission. It was an older gentleman, and she was like, man, you still around? He was like, yeah. And so it went through him and, a little bit of what he had going on, showed a little bit of his character, but he was an older soldier, fit. All them was fit. They be ripped, cut up, on their shit. But at some point in time, he did his thing or whatever. And they, after the mission, they were talking. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I try to tell you, beware the old soldier. He was like, they old for a reason. Meaning that as long as you can still put them on, man, and you got your faculty together. And salute to my man Cass, OG Cass, man. He dropped a brilliant jewel, because he said, he elaborated on it and clarified something. He said, they say that power is the last thing to go. He said, but in all actuality, what they really mean is star power. And I was like, bars. But, you know, Errol, man, as long as Errol got all his faculty together and the man that he is, and when you look at this man and what he was able to do in his last fight against Bud Crawford, who went on to become pound for pound #1 before he exited stage left, it was almost like a scene from that Gladiator movie when Maximus Aurelius got stabbed up under the vest, and they sent him out. They sent him out of there. Homie stabbed him. Then he went out there and fought like that. Still did his thing, but he was, hurt like that. And we all know what happened, man. But for that man to go in there, he didn't take the Puerto Rican knee. He didn't retire on his stool. Harvey Dog had to come in and console that man and stop. And Earl was still looking like, what? Why you stop it? That man's a soldier. So beware the old soldier, man. As long as he got his faculties and he is himself. And I've been looking at it. I'm not going to steal my own thunder. And I don't know what AC's input is yet, as of yet on this one. But beware the old soldier, man. If that man got his mindset on fighting again and he, it's all systems go. And what I've seen, especially in that workout last night that they did with him looking sharp and crispy, as fast as Brian Norman and all that, beware of the old soldier, man. Don't count Errol Spence out. He's definitely somebody, man. If I was in the Army, he's definitely somebody I would want on the squad. If I was out in these streets, he's definitely somebody I would want on the squad. You know what I'm saying? That the man is a stand-up dude. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna call him an old soldier, but they say, they trying to paint this picture like he long in the tooth and all that. But we shall see. And that's what we're gonna get into. But with no further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring on the best co-host on the planet. AC, what's going on with you?
Man, everything good, man. Everything actually great, man. Yeah, this is an exciting one, bro. This one I really want to talk about because I got into some discussions with some people, and it's really weird, because people are acting like dude is just written off. Like, if he don't throw a jab, then he finished. He should retire. If he come out and he breaks a sweat, you know what I'm saying, or his shoelace untied, he should retire boxing and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, man, with some fighters in history, we've actually seen people go on extensive layoffs and then come back as a problem to go on a tear and actually make history. Perfect example is Big George Foreman. He left the game for 10 years at least, a decade minimum, and then came back, oldest heavyweight champion, and got some impressive stoppages. Beat some guys that I was like, God damn, bruh. He let that old ass man fuck you up like that, man. So I'm happy to see him back. This is a great cook to spotlight him. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm just ignoring the goofy people, because some of these same people I heard arguing, tooth and nail for Errol Spence in the Bud saga, and now they all of a sudden don't want to be an Errol Spence fan because he lost. And I had to even question dudes to be like, what would y'all dudes, like, and I always bring up the example, what would y'all dudes say about Marvin Hagler? 2 losses before he even got to be undisputed. By dudes that had the same framework, about the same height, same arm reach, from the same geographical location, which then says, back then, if you lose to 2 guys back to back like that, maybe you got a problem with Philly fighters. Maybe they just got your number, or that stylistically it poses a challenge for you. That's a puzzle that you can't really get by. Just be honest about it. It doesn't take away that after that, he goes on a fucking tear. and becomes undisputed and one of the greatest fighters out here. So losses don't mean nothing. And I'd also use the same example, and the dude was like, well, I know you ain't trying to put Hagler in the same category as O'Shaquie. In the terms of early losses and stuff like that, or losses that just make you think or whatever, and then come back and do something great. I'm not saying O'Shaquie is at the level of Marvin Hagler, but he shows all the potential with the moves that he can be just as great. So I'm not going to write him off. So if he's still pressing for Shakur and he go ahead and do what he got to do, bro, listen, 3 losses or whatever, 2 losses, that shit ain't matter. It's the heart. If you fight in the best competition, eventually you gonna lose. So dude was just,
Right.
I don't know. I'm going to go to my safe word. But other than that, bro, I'll let you get into the housekeeping and everything so we could actually get this cook going. But overall, yeah, today was a great day. I'm just still, reeling off last night's victory, my early stoppage I got last night.
You made him say pineapples, basically.
Word to mother, but you know the name that they revert to once you start cooking them. You feel what I'm saying? Starts with a T and ends with ink. All right, bro.
I always say that's the proverbial, that's the everlasting, the greatest rebuttal ever. Just say that word and do the typewriter over there, and it's like I. But yeah, as far as the housekeeping, man, we got a good one. Hopefully it won't last that long, but we're gonna go ahead and break into the housekeeping, man. Number 1, Frank Martin signs with Top Rank. And I'm ecstatic for Frank Martin. He was one of my guys, especially with him going in the 140 division. That's my division. I always say that's the most competitive division in boxing behind 154. It's just they're not fighting each other, but it's going to crank up. It's getting ready to get real. It's getting ready to get even more spicier. And I'm proud of Frank for, getting some momentum. I had asked, like 2 weeks ago, like, what's going on? I was trying to figure out what was going on with him and what was going on with Gary Antoine. And voila, we see Fighters First. I think that's his manager. I think that's the company he's with, Fighters First, the same guy that was behind Errol, the big guy. He was over there. I saw the pictures with him and Bob, showing an early Bob, with Bob standing there with Muhammad Ali, and Frank was standing next to Bob and shaking their hands, and he did his little video where he was signing the contract and all that. And I was like, good for Frank. Good for Frank. I really didn't consider what was going on with PBC and all that, because that, to me, that don't really make any difference. I like fighters on all of these different promotional companies, the major ones. I even like some guys that deflected the Zuffa. I just can't rock with, one of them in particular. But I'm not a respecter of promotional companies. I'm not one of them ones that's gonna be like, oh my gosh, PBC had to kiss the ring. Oh, look at Frank, he's leaving, PBC is doomed. And I'm not, the sky is falling in that type situation. I'm just happy that Frank got with somebody. He was, showing all 32 teeth. He was happy. He looked excited. The thing is, right before I got online, I wound up seeing a short, and I seen a little caption, but it started, but I stopped it. And it was Tim Bradley. And Tim Bradley was talking about Keyshawn, and then it was something about Keyshawn and Frank Martin. And the rumblings, we had spoken on this earlier, the rumblings was that Keyshawn is going to pull out of that ordeal and then go fight Frank Martin. Now, we've been wanting to see it, but for me, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't like the move by Keyshawn. Like, for one, he wasted a lot of people's time. And then also, this uncovers something that me and AC was cooking on, in the fact that this was all a ploy to try to get Devin just to drop the belt. So just when I thought Keyshawn was cleaning his act up and, he got his act together, whatever, and all that stunt that Jay Prince pulled with his 2 double-barrel shotguns, all that was pretty much a strong arm to try to get Devin And I'm not even a Devin Haney fan like that. I respect the Brian Norman. I respect some of the moves, but I don't like a lot of the YouTube, you know, hysteria that's created. He's the YouTube petri dish that grown to be like Groot. And it's like Big Groot now, based on YouTube, and all his affiliations with Zab being his god uncle and Roy being something, and then, you know, pretty much coming up under the Mayweathers, and you know, he pretty much had boxing royalty behind him. He's been on YouTube ever since he was a young lad, and I think that he's more of a product of how YouTube pushed, because when his fights come on and all this and all that, he's been getting the job done. But they wiped away the Ryan loss, and there's just a lot of different things behind him. I do respect some of the moves. I had gained some respect after the Brian Norman fight when he made me eat crow, but in this situation, oh my God, if Keyshawn do that, now I'm gonna be happy that we get him and Frank Martin if that is the case. But it just speaks volumes as to what this play was really all about. All of this was really a ploy to get Devin to drop his belt. And it's not until somebody can come out and give me some sound reasoning and logic, not just emotion, not just a whole bunch of insults and all of that. Until somebody can do that, I'm gonna have to cook Keyshawn. I'm gonna have to cook Keyshawn for that, because he jumped up. We were talking about it. Well, what did he do to get number one? What did he do to become number one? And everybody was hyped, saying, yeah, he was ready, he was this. And I'm just like, hold on, I mean, he might be ready. But I was saying that, you know, he had a skill set to where at least I know when he get in the ring, he gonna swing. I do know that. He's not gonna be in there trying to fence and up. I poked you in your belly button, up tapped your earlobe. He's not that kind of fighter. He's gonna let them things go. That's what I do respect about Keyshawn. My question about him was his discipline. And I made a joke last time, was he gonna miss weight? He wound up missing weight, but then making it. But I'm like, man, and then he was moving up to that 140. He got a Jermaine Ortiz, tiptoed up past 40, didn't really fight nobody at 40, and then get number one at 47 where he leapfrogged all them people. And I was telling AC earlier, I said, now the reason why, if that is true, and he is going to go pursue this Frank Martin situation, then maybe somebody else that would have been in that spot, like if Tiger Johnson or Rohan Polanco, maybe they would have accepted whatever deal was on just for an opportunity to beat the shit out of Devin or land whatever they got. You know what I'm saying? Tiger had real animosity, so that was going to be a real fight, because I think emotion was going to be involved. But then he was an Olympian. You know, there's history, there's the brawl, you know, where Devin ultimately wound up getting banned from up there in New York at the Garden. But to me, Keyshawn just wasted everybody's time. He just turned this into, and I was just giving him his kudos for being quiet. I was like, man, the man has stayed out of social media. He ain't been saying much. But this was just a ploy to get that strap off for Devin. So it'll be a good look for Frank Martin, you know, to fight Keyshawn. That's a scrap that a lot of people wanted. You know what I'm saying? You could put that pretty much anywhere on the East Coast. You could even, I guess, if they letting Keyshawn have the upper hand, he can have Frank come out there to the scope. He can redeem himself with a big fight, a very game opponent, and all of that. So that fight, I'll judge that fight in a vacuum, but I'm still stuck on, because there's no permanent concrete news that it will be Frank. Until that happens, I'll judge that fight in the vacuum once it happens. But right now, I'm still looking at everything, because there's nothing official saying that the fight is off between Devin and Keyshawn. So I'm gonna give him some grace now. But if the tea leaves are correct, if what people are out here rumbling in the whispers, man, Keyshawn gonna get cooked. He's gonna get cooked. But salute to Frank Martin, you know, for inking the contract, getting more bread on the table, and continuing his career and staying active. Number 2, Jal Batar takes IBF to court. So he's pretty much suing the IBF. And although, you know, I've always been telling AC, you know, I mean, WTF is boxing credit. Boxing credit ain't worth nothing, but we never get the credit for the heavy lifting that we do. People just take the talking points and run with it. Don't give no don't really give no references, no shout outs. Say, hey man, I heard these guys cooking on this and that, but this was before the fight. This was before he fought Brandon Glanton. We came out, we cooked on this, and Jal Batar, we both were high on Jal Batar. We both were sitting around saying, okay, look, man, all he had to do was stay in place. He was going to get David Benavidez. David Benavidez said, look, I'm going to come up there. I'm going to relieve Zerto of them straps, and I'm coming right at you. And Jal Batar was like, I got to go. Where's my keys? You know, and he exited stage left. He ran over there to Zuffa. And for a while, the IBF was behind it. And this was on the original cook. The IBF was behind the move. But they're... Salute, Quee. What's happening? Salute. I appreciate you for coming in the building. But the original theme was the IBF was going to allow Jal Batar to fight over there at Zuffa. But their only thing was, they said, look, you can go over there and fight as long as it's going to be for a trinket. You know what I'm saying? Not for no sanctioned belt, because they're not going to recognize that. Right? And I think a lot of people, respectfully, are a little bit remedial when it comes down to this. It's just like the Shakur and the WBC situation. You got to understand, until they have somebody in your place and they're representing, and that other individual is representing their belt, you are the standing resident of that belt, where you are holding a highly coveted spot, a prestigious spot in their organization. And that's why for everything that they do for you and your likeness and everything that comes along with you, they are giving you that. So going into the example, I'm gonna give y'all an example. Jal Batar going over there to Zuffa and fighting Glanton. Going in, he was recognized as the IBF champion. They had just stripped him, but that was his likeness. That was what his claim to fame was. So if he go on Jay Leno or one of these night shows or whatever, I know Jay Leno ain't on, I'm being funny, but like if he goes anywhere and they recognize him and they put him up and they put the little caption, it was going to say IBF, just like with Shakur. Before he stepped into the ring with Teofimo Lopez, he was recognized as the WBC lightweight champion. That was his likeness at that point. So you're holding a spot down. This is like you saying, all right, look, man, I ain't gonna pay you. Yeah, I know I paid you up until today, but look, hold this room, right? I'll be back next week. They're gonna be like, F you. This room gotta make money. I could put somebody else in this room. It don't work like that. Now, what you can do is you can pay this up. You can pay, but he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He wanted them to hold the room, but then not pay and hold it down. So, and this is the thing. They said, look, we'll let you fight over there as long as it's a trinket. But if they label this as some kind of title fight or whatever, and you're gonna be the Zuffa champ and all that, we're gonna strip you. And I guess he didn't believe fat meat be greasy, how my people down south be saying, but he didn't believe fat meat be greasy, and he took his ass over there. But guess what? Normally they say if you don't know your history, it's doing and repeat itself. He knows the history. He was already stripped before when he didn't do what he was supposed to do. They had already showed him, like, so this wasn't one of them, like, he touched that stove and got burnt. He had to go double back around, spin the block, and go back and get that strap again. Why? Because they stripped his butt. So him saying he don't know and all this is going to do is all of that nice big bag that Zuffa gave you. You're just wasting some of your money on legal fees. I can almost promise you it ain't going to go nowhere. Why? Because they told you the rules and they wasn't not going to recognize Zuffa as he had to learn the hard way. There will be no way that they're going to let you do that. So then what happened with Richardson Hitchens? The same thing, but he knew it. He just was content with being able to walk around and say, I'm a millionaire now. I'm a millionaire now. I got a milli bag. Now I can milli rock. You know what I'm saying? So that's all he really was doing. Now Jal Batar dragging this thing out and crying and whining. I don't get it. But we were saying beforehand, this was a bad move. And then Shakur followed suit. So they be thinking that, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this anyway. You know how your mother used to tell you, hey, you better be on that porch when them street lights come on. And then you be like, oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And don't go over nobody's house. When I come outside, when it get dark, if I come outside and call your name and you don't come running, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. That's how it was when I was growing up. She told me about consequences and repercussions early. But every now and again, you're going to test that water. You're going to go over somebody's house when you ain't supposed to. She going to get out of work early. And where was you at when I got home? Oh, I had went over such a... You was where? I went over... Oh, okay, go ahead and get in the room. Go get down to them drawers and your T-shirt. And I'm going to have that ass. So the IBF was like, I'm going to have that ass. And that's what they did. Like, you can listen to these media. I told y'all it's a war going on, and they play on the ignorance. They play on people's ignorance. They'll play it up, and they'll speak to all the casuals about this because it's really casual driven. People don't have the time to sit down and really get down to the nuts and bolts of these things. But channels like this and other channels, right, will break it down and give you the specifics and let you know, like, look, man, don't let people lead you around by your nose. And that's what people are doing. So it's kind of silly. It's a waste of money. And I know them lawyers don't come easy. You know what I'm saying? They get paid thousands of dollars by the hour. So you can, he can waste some of that bag that he got. But I'm like, man, all you're going to do is hemorrhage money. You're going to make a spectacle out yourself. And we can't say you got bamboozled or flim-flam because it's a history of it. They stripped you before you went over there to an organization where they don't recognize it. So it's like people are going to try it, and I guess he's going to try his hand. He's going to try to be the, I guess he's going to try to get some kind of sympathy from everybody and all that. But like, man, we like Jao Batai as a person. There's nothing really not to like about Jao Batai. The move is what we're judging. These actions are what we're judging. So, you know, I'm like, man, save some of your money, cousin. You know, because you might not be fighting for a while, and then the people that you are fighting, they might not do anything for your cachet right now. You knee deep in a pile of shit, and it don't look like nobody is around to help you pull out. Everybody's just enabling you and saying, yeah. This is the peril of having a lot of yes men around you. Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. And I'll be one of the ones saying, nah, I wouldn't do that. Probably wouldn't do that. I'll be that one at the behest of somebody saying, oh, here you go. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that, Ja. And that's what we did before the fight. This was a video we did before the fight where we cooked ad nauseum in there saying, Ja, don't do that. It's not a good look. But then the media, he had the media backing him, and he had everybody saying that David Benavidez was ducking. I'm like, hold on, how you go to an island? We free. We over here on all this open land, all this real estate, and you grab your little, you get in your little boat, and you paddle your ass over to Zuffa, and I want all the smoke. It don't work like that. You got your ass stripped, and now you hemorrhaging money on some dumb shit because you want to kick against the pricks. I don't understand it. But that's Jao Batai. That's number 2. Number 3. Shakur going to fight El Rayo. According to Chris Mannix. Chris Mannix was the first one right after the Oshaki fight when he was the first one to pour water all over the Oshaki fight. And that's why I don't like his big head, blue suit wearing ass, because that was the echoes that everybody is out here online and the sentiments that they're actually expressing. What they going by what Chris Mannix, oh man, that fight, that gave everybody to relieve Shakur of the pressure of all that stuff he had with Oshaki going on and saying, oh no, people flip-flop. I seen people flip-flop right after that fight. They was all on Ray Ford nuts because he was affiliated. He was Shakur's little mans and all this. They straight up flipped, painted, and I said, man, y'all really like them likes, clicks, and views, man. You no character in there, no metal, no integrity, none of that. Gone. And Shakur do that, man. He got a way of mesmerizing people. I don't know if it's his dimples. I don't know if it's the new $1 million smile. I don't know what it is. But that little baby face dude be lying straight through his teeth, and people be with it. It's just like him saying, "Oh, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight Ray. I don't want to fight Ray, man. I seen him. He done had bad nights at the office and all that. Well, were you the first one to beat Teofimo Lopez? Did we not see Teofimo Lopez get beat before? But when it came down to O'Shaquie, I don't like the way he's talking to me. Like all the things that make you go, when it come down to Shakur. But he said he would rather fight Gary Antoine Russell a week before he announced that he was over there at Zuffa. Chris Mannix had told us the night right after O'Shaquie won, the first one, soon they went to him, he said, I don't think that fight gonna happen. I'm being told that Shakur's signed with Zuffa, man. We just waiting on the announcement. So for all that time, that was May 30th, all the way up until like July the 6th or something like that, when he finally came out and announced that. We was in limbo, and he was going on his media tour. He was just running around, yeah. And then to come to find out, the man said he didn't even negotiate with nobody. He didn't even talk to nobody. Then he tried to come out with a bold-faced line, say the Zone came with an offer, but it was a little bit too late. I was like, what? So you didn't even do your due diligence. You didn't even see what was out there for. You just like, oh, y'all gonna pay me 5 times my pay? All right, what do I sign? This is my John Hancock. Yeah, I'll wear those black Zuffa trunks. Yeah, I'll wear those black gloves. Yeah, I'll take, look at me, taking all the pictures and all that. You didn't even consult with nobody else. This is like he don't get no flack for him in track record. I think it was more like 13 days, but according to history, it said it was like 23 days from the time he was a free agent with Top Rank and he went over to the Matchroom. But Eddie had already been parading him around before he even made the announcement. Then told Eddie, don't even try to make the Tank fight. This guy's moves never get scrutinized the way they supposed to. Now, certain creators are people that's been on his butt, you know what I'm saying, that's been following the bouncing ball all along. They've been saying what's been going on. But there is no pressure. Remember that time when they asked Tank, they said, when he said, so what? They asked him, I'm gonna rephrase what they said. They said basically, so when it come down to these big fights, what are the big names that you've been asking for? He was like, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't go in there and ask for who. He's like, they give me the list and I pick from, you know what I'm saying? I pick who I want, like the best one, like, and everybody was cooking Tank for that for the longest time. For the longest time, they was cooking. I'm like, why are you gonna cook a dude who he couldn't go in there and be like, I want him. At that stage, it came a point to where he graduated to be able to call his own shots and say, hey, yeah, I want this guy, I want this. But then it take 2 to tango. They gotta say yes. They gotta come on in. He can't just be like, I want you gonna fight me, and then it's gonna be ordered. Like, no. This is not a dictatorship. He couldn't do that, but they cooked him. Come to find out with Shakur, is like, with Shakur, he get carte blanche. He never even did his due diligence to see what was out there for him. He just signed up to Zuffa. But he's being guided because we talked about this in the housekeeping number 1 as far as Jay Prince, Keyshawn, and him being all lock and step. That's why Shakur was at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro saying, if he want to fight me, he can. He just got to drop that belt, and he got to be at 144, and he got to bring me a new toothbrush and all kind of stupid shit he was saying. It was all a ploy to get Devin to drop the belt. But he gets no flack, no pressure. These same people that were coming out and cooking Tank, they have nothing to say right now. Nothing. And come to find out, when Chris Mannix just did this interview, him and this little, whoever he was talking to, he was like, yeah, he said, we really don't know how much he got paid. In reference to Shakur, we really don't know how much he got paid. We think, and I don't do this. I don't even pocket watch. I don't care. I'm stating what Chris Mannix said. He said we're thinking that he's getting paid 10. We know it's 10 at least. He said, or it could be upward of 15. He was like, but we don't know for sure. He's like, nobody really knows that. He was like, but more importantly, with him being over here in this situation, signing the Zuffa, he said a lot of people are acting like they don't know who he's going to fight. He said, but what we're being told, this is the same guy that told us that he was signed with Zuffa. I guess the same sources are telling him that he's going to fight El Rayo. What did Shakur say the other day? I'm not fighting El Rayo. Okay, you over there with Zuffa, buddy. They own you. You signed paperwork, brother. Then you'll come out there and we got some kind of partnership and we can make any big fight happen and all. Man, listen. They saying this man gonna fight El Rayo. So we in July, August, September, October. We got 3 months, 90 days, 90, little over 90 days, but we're gonna have to hear the announcement way before that. Especially if Zuffa want to promote the fight at all. And there's been some kind of lead up over there with Zuffa and the ones they fighting, because we knew that Belonga was fighting. We knew who Richardson Hitchens was fighting, Ricardo Salas. We knew that Derevyanchenko and the guy from DC, Jalil Hackett. We knew that they were going to fight. There was some lead up. They had put that news out there. So if it's 90 plus days, let's say it's about roughly 100 days away from when they'll fight in October. Let's just say roughly. In the next month, next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to hear something about Shakur and El Rayo. I can almost guarantee you that. Unless something wild and crazy happened with this Devin stuff. I've been sitting back watching this, waiting or whatever, and I don't even understand. I'll land right here. I don't even understand like the hoopla and how these fans are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, happy that he went and signed with the Zone, and we're not talking about him and Keyshawn no more. It's almost like, man, like how many players is in this game that they're playing? Because if he don't, then one, if Keyshawn is going over there to do that Frank Martin stuff, he is PUSSY. If Devin, now he got backing, now he's not a man without a land, and he didn't do the Shakur thing, right? Which I didn't want him to do. But if now that he has backing, meaning that he got a purse where that the network will come in and say, all right, well, look here, we got $6 million for this fight. We're going to allocate 7 for this. Let's go ahead and get it on. If now that he got that backing and it's not Keyshawn, I'm going to have to say he PUSSY as well. And this goes to something that I said earlier, and this is they said I was hating. They said I was a skeptic. I'm like, man, they be playing us. Pretty much called this. I'm like, man, they playing games. They gonna make all this hoopla. Why? Because I've been studying Devin Haney. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because he came in with Brian Norman, made me eat crow. Trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Trying to let bygones be bygones. But he turned down the biggest payday in his life with Tank and said, I don't like the way he talking to me. Y'all see what him and Shakur got. They both don't like the way people be talking to him. As boxers, I'm like, okay, we'll get in the ring and punch him in the face. Legally, you can do that. This is the only sport, well, it's a couple other sports, combat sport, but this is a combat sport where you can really, literally sell your grievance and get paid handsomely to punch somebody in the face that you don't like, and you want to walk away because you don't like the way they talking to you. And I said this before about Devin. He's the type that makes all this hoopla. Just like when he had Mr. Gary Russell and he dragged Mr. Gary Russell and had YouTube just shitting all over Mr. Gary Russell Jr., right? Only to come to find out that he already had Gamboa locked in. And Gary Russell came back and he put Bill Haney on host. He pulled his whole card. It was like, hold on, man. We were talking. He was like, and Bill was like, yeah, I know we were talking. He was like, but you never got back to me, Bill. Bill got quiet. He was like, Bill, you never got back to me. Then he said, man, the networks didn't like you. He was like, but still, you could have got back to me. He was like, yeah, I know. Nobody says nothing about this. The whole time he was done at 35, he was tank, and then go fight some bum. Or well, he like cougars. So I ain't going to say bum, but he'll go fight somebody that's long in the tooth that he ain't got no business in the ring with. Then he remember when Rolly got into that issue where he had, where he had to pull out, and Tank ultimately fought Cruz. He was out there talking about, I'll fight Tank on a short week. And I said, man, shut the fuck up. No, you ain't. Man wound up fighting JoJo Diaz. He got a history of this, man. Clout chasing, attaching him to his name. Brian Norman, I didn't think it was going to happen. He made me eat crow. I didn't think it was going to happen. But he always attach himself to a name, get stirred all this mess, and then he go fight somebody that we don't even care about him fighting. I asked the panel the other day, I said, is Keyshawn and Devin a big fight? The overwhelming consensus was like, no, it's a big fight. It's an interesting fight. People wanted to see him, but they didn't classify it as a big fight. And I qualified it was a trap because I qualified it saying that if it was a big fight, it would not have went to purse bid. Big fights don't go to purse bids. And free agents don't just get to arbitrarily just walk out the door. You get wooed aggressively by all these suitors. They try to do anything and everything to keep you with them. Why? Because you are a money generator. Why do you think Tank got in this situation that he got? They don't want to let that man go nowhere. They're like, no, we're going to make a special whatever we got for Tank where we can make and do whatever we got. We're not letting him go. Ain't no, nah, free agent. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We don't got you in no confines or nothing, but we're going to do everything. That's why I say free agents, like with Top Rank letting Shakur not warn him and just giving him an offer he couldn't refuse and letting him go over the matchroom. And then Eddie, you hear how Eddie talking? And now he over to the Zoofa and Eddie is saying, oh, they giving him 5 times the worth. And he gonna fight El Ryu, y'all. That's why I say, man, we can get bent out of shape. We can do a 9-hour live just cooking the shit out of Shakur, cooking the shit out of Devin. Stop listening to what they say and watch how they behave. And stop giving these guys all that goddamn attention. It ain't worth it. You could be highlighting Abdullah Mason. You could be talking about what Brian Norman got next. You could be seeing what's up with David Benavidez. There's a lot of other guys. Oshaki, you could be, you know what I'm saying, doing something on and highlighting, okay, how he been moving and how since 2020 he been fighting the top 5. Top 5. No other boxer can say that right now where they've been talk. Maybe David Benavidez can, maybe Anoya Inoue, and Bam Rodriguez. It's only like 4 dudes that can say that right now where they're fighting the top 5. Oshaki been doing that since 2020. And he still don't get no respect. But we want to sit around and talk about Shakur and Devin all goddamn day. Salute, Ms. Coleman. I appreciate you. Yes, this is a big fish session. Salute, OG Cass. But that's the housekeeping, AC. That's the housekeeping, bro. What you got on the housekeeping? What you want to start with that?
Well, I'm going to start with Frank Martin because at the end of the day, for me, when I'm trying to process this Frank Martin, this potential fight between Frank Martin and Keyshawn Davis. The way I'm approaching it is this. Why would you leave 140 to make a fight with Frank Martin, who pretty much just got to 140? So for me, I'm asking the question: at what weight is it going to be at? You feel me? For me, it's just the type of fight that tells me this might be a wet noodle from Keyshawn, because the fight that really makes sense at the weight class you at is you and Brian Norman Jr. To pull Frank up, and Frank just got there, didn't have a solid performance, although he won, but it left a lot of questions against Albright. You feel what I'm saying? And then you go out there and you have a suspicious joint with Albright. Could you build this fight on that? If it was at 140, I think so. With you being at 47 and you saying, you just woke up and, you found this information out and it had to be an act of God and stuff like that. You're saying, God don't make mistakes. Then how you going to call out Frank Martin? How's that going to work? You're sitting there at the number 1 spot. So for me, I'm just like, Keyshawn, you go to that Frank Martin direction. That's not gonna sit well with me, because I'm gonna be like, then why did you even leave 140? You had credibility at 140, or was getting that credibility by beating Jermaine Ortiz. And then you say, well, I'm going to 47. All right, you get there, you wake up in the morning and you say it's there. Then what are you looking back at fighters at 140? Your whole thing with Frank Martin should have happened at least at 35, which you said you don't have enough fights and wait till you get to 12, 13, 14 fights. You feel what I'm saying? You saying then everybody come holler at me. That's when you had 7-8 fights. So you were claiming that you needed at least seven, maybe 8, a minimum of 6 more fights to be ready for Frank Martin after Frank Martin pressed you. And now that you got those fights and you're at a higher weight class, now this is something you want. You are at a higher weight class trying to bully, which I don't even want to use the word try to bully, because you just look like a clown when it came down to you pressing Abdullah Mason and saying, I've been trying to get a fight with you. I want to fight with you. And that clownship has been happening since you dropped the bag, where it's actually relevant to say Keyshawn fumbled the bag when you was at 35 and you was on the precipice of being the it guy. You feel what I'm saying with the young black American fighters at Top Rank. But you fumbled that bag the night Albright beat your brother. So I'm just like, here we go again with Keyshawn. We just got to see how it works out. Concerning the Devin Haney thing, where it is right now, I think you guys are both locked in. It makes sense for me to just say, look, I'd rather see you fight Devin Haney. Let Devin Haney beat your ass or outbox you, outclass you, whatever, squeak by the victory. People complain, whatever, whatever that case may be. And maybe then look at some of the other guys at 147. You're there. I understand, and I was one of the persons that was like, look, I don't like that move where you jumped all of those solid names at 47. So with that being said, that's the way I felt about that. The second one, Obataya, we covered this in nauseam. I've been trying to explain to people what this UBO model is and how it really works. Shakur can say whatever, but you're hearing, Chris Mannix even say, well, the people behind the scenes over at Zuffa. Who are the people behind the scenes over at Zuffa? You feel what I'm saying? Zuffa says it's one-stop shopping. So if the one-stop shop guy tells you this is who you're fighting, then this is who you're actually fighting. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So with that being said, you could tell us what you feel, but Dana White is and those people over at Zuffa is like, I really don't give a shit what Shakur Stevenson feel. We just paid a whole lot of money, and you gonna fight who we tell you gonna fight. And with that being said, it's like, whoa, okay, reality check. Now this is where you're gonna start to see the monster that exists over at the Isle of Zuffa Moreau. You feel what I'm saying? Now the horror story is actually gonna begin. You thought you had a lifeline with dealing with the hopes that Devin Haney would sign, and that'll save your brand and everything else, and it'll possibly save Zuffa spending out so much money. It didn't work that way. We had examples. We had Obataya. Obataya knew. The IBF informed Obataya. We saw the letters. We saw the statements that they told this man, okay, we will let the fight go through, but you cannot fight for that Zuffa belt. This is, take that back, when Turk tried to redesign the WBC's belt. And what did Mauricio Suleiman tell that man? Leave my fucking WBC belt alone. That's not for you to fuck with. But did you see that Zuffa inspired WBC belt at the end of that fight? No, that shit was nowhere to be found, because they knew they had no legal precedence to pull that bullshit. Just like Ja Obataya, this is a smoke screen. He's over here waving a squirrel. You feel what I'm saying? And all y'all acting like hunting dogs, like, squirrel. Obataya said he's gonna sue squirrel. Bro, that's not what's gonna happen. That man's gonna get laughed out of court, or he doesn't even make it to court. Like, they're gonna look at him and be like, Obataya, Was this letter sent to you on this day before the fight? Yes. How many days before that? How many days before was that letter sent to you? It was sent between 28 and 15 days. So what part of it didn't you get? You didn't get it in the mail. You didn't get the email. What is it? Yeah, I got it, but I didn't understand it. So you had no lawyer over at Zuffa to explain to you what this actually meant. Now you're going to try to throw somebody else under the bus, and they just going to look at you like, hold up, little Australian boy. That shit is not about to go down. You're not about to throw us under the bus because of your stupidity or your ignorance. And ignorance is the fact of ignoring something and knowing that it still exists, or choosing to not basically acknowledge the thing that's standing there, that elephant in the room. You're ignoring it. You're being ignorant to that elephant in the room. And that's what Obadiah chose to do, because Zuffa was like, nah, don't worry about it. We got you covered on the legal end. So right after that, then we see Richard Hitchens, big name, Ryo, big names, Berlanga, decent name. Hitchens drops his belt. He says, I'm going to 47 over there and I'm going to drop my belt. So Shakur comes out and everybody thinks now all of a sudden something's going to be really, really different. Okay, so you're not looking at Obadiah, you're not looking at this situation. Obadiah is now sitting there like, damn, I miss my belt. I miss being able to just go outside and cross that side of the street and, you know, go to a fruit stand and, you know, buy an apple or some shit like that. So Obadiah just fucked his shit up. You would think Shakur and the machine behind Shakur would have been like, hey, red flag, red flag, red flag, but they didn't. And that leads me into the last part of just Shakur is going to fight El Rayo. Accept it. He has no other alternative. The other guys over there know what time it is dealing with Zuffa. One of two things happen. If you're going to try to make fights and Zuffa is just going to look at you as a promoter to give you this ability to make all of these fights, and they've signed this deal over here, and it says typically a contract that's signed with the Zuffa fighter is a multi-year contract. So they said 10 million or 15 million for Shakur, averages out to what they was originally saying, 60 million, stuff like that. You tend to fight, some people say you fight twice a year or whatever. 4 fights, you should be done with that contract in 2 years. It's a multi-year contract. 2 is the actual number of multi. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the numbers could add up. You just got to deliver on those fights. Where we know what fights you're going to get, I don't know. Will you get the big fights that you claiming you're going to make? You probably can. I'm not going to definitively say no. But Zuffa is going to have to come out their pocket, because every fighter now knows you're over there by yourself, and whatever name you call or you think you want to fight, your people gonna have to pay a hell of a lot more money. So then that could possibly damage everything, because if I know you want to fight me and I'm a big name, what, you getting 10, 15 million? I want 20. Other than that, I don't want to fight this dude. How is that going to work? You still locked into 2 years, 4 fights. Oh, shit's about to get ugly for you, bro. And that's pretty much where I landed. And I'll just say this. The general consensus now is that you're going to avoid Ryo, because you know that's not going to be an easy fight. And that's where I'll land that plane.
Right. Salute, Swa.
Yo,
How you feeling, man?
man, feeling good, man. You already know what's good with you, man. AC.
Good, man. We getting through the housekeeping. So we can go ahead and
Yeah.
get into the cook. But what you got? You got anything on the housekeeping?
Yeah, for sure, man. I watched the show from the beginning because I never really like caught the show like from the beginning and seeing how your format was. So now I kind of understand why you do the housekeeping thing. So it's a dope show. I went back and watched some old ones. Man, yo, keep cooking, man. For real, keep cooking.
Appreciate you.
Hey, man, hey, blessings to you. Yeah, for sure with housekeeping, man. Hey, man, it's a lot of good things going on in boxing. Well, I mean, it's a lot of things going on in boxing. You just don't know if they're good or bad right now. I'm gonna say this. So for Frank Martin, that for me, and I know it's just even for viewers who just now coming into boxing. For me, watching Frank Martin and knowing he's up under Errol Spence, with man down, and I knew with Errol he kind of happened to start fresh, man. I know you'll talk about that later, but he gotta bet on himself right now. It'd be hard to even try to manage somebody else's career when you at what you doing right now, as far as going against Tszyu. So Frank signing with Top Rank, for me, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Frank, you gotta be a big dog now. You know what I mean? You gotta go out there. So I think that's actually good for Frank because Top Rank really, they build their fighters well, but they got really good matchmaking. Everybody know that. I don't want to repeat, but everybody knows Top Rank is great at building and matchmaking. So for Frank to go there, I think that's a good move. But it said more about where Errol Spence is at, in my opinion, just how I looked at it, because I'm like, okay, Errol really got to take this thing serious with Tszyu because it could be over. And I think Frank kind of know that. So anyway, but yeah, for Frank signing with Top Rank, I think that's great. I think that's great for Frank, for real. Taya, hey man, AC cooked on it earlier, and because everybody knew you was gonna be stripped. Everybody knew it was if you in the boxing community, even somebody who was covering Zuffa, because he was the first one to fight for they belt. I remember that. And the thing is that he was told, you do that, we gonna strip you. Jay did it. So I don't know why he thought that they wasn't gonna strip him, because everybody knew, boy, if you do that, as soon as you step in the ring, it's over. They're gonna strip you. So for even Jay to go to court with the IBF, it won't even be on social media because none of it will be viral. It'll be so quick, snip and cut. It'll be over. Like he'll almost feel foolish for even doing it. You better be happy with the Zuffa belt. Shakur gonna fight Elvira for sure. Look. Shakur on that island, and I got videos on my channel too. Anyway, but I'm just saying, my biggest thing when you went to that island, you gonna have to get what they give you over there. And my Bernie Mac voice, you get what I give you, and that's what. And you took the money, and that's fine, okay. But you now you got to wear an NBA 2K uniform before the editing. Like that's what Zuffa boxing uniform looked like to me. Like you ain't got no sponsorships. It ain't nothing flashy about it. If you go over there, ain't nobody trying to come over there and deal with that. Come on, man. Boxing ain't never been that. It ain't never been that. So you think people, these fighters got sponsors and all this and our style of things over there. You think they're gonna want to come over there and wear a uniform and they're gonna be just anxious to do it? No. The only biggest thing that you had to get momentum as far as Shakur, Shakur had more momentum making that Devin fight happen and bringing him over there. That would have made it work. But see, Devin ain't doing that. And see, the thing is now, Ohio is like a golden goose, in my opinion, to the fighters that he liked to fight. Because, and nothing against his Hispanic people and stuff like that or different nationalities. I love y'all, my brothers and sisters. But he ain't never gotten there with just no slick black fighter who can do all that, who ain't gonna give you that patience. And Shakur I ain't seen him against nobody like that, not in recent years. So my thing is, De Los Santos was the one that people literally got him on camera running from. Literally, like he running in the ring. They got memes, everybody know. And the thing is that Rayo just knocked out that dude that everybody said you ran from. And he so happened to be on Zuffa. If it ain't Devin, it gotta be Rayo, because he still ain't gonna fight De Los Santos. I don't know why this, he think that just because Rayo beat De Los Santos, he beat De Los Santos. No, you still should give him a rematch. But anyway, Rayo just so happened to knock him out, and he calling you out. Shakur definitely gonna fight El Rayo, because that's the only one. If Shakur beat El Rayo, he can be like, hey, De Los Santos, I told you I could beat De Los Santos. Look how easy I beat Rayo. Now, that's how I'm thinking they thinking. So it only makes sense, because ain't nobody else on Zuffa that's gonna give him that momentum other than De Los Santos or Devin, because it ain't nobody over there. And I'm gonna land it right there. But yeah, that's just for house clean. Like, yeah, that was my thoughts with that.
Yeah, and I think that's a tricky fight too, because El Rayo done went back in that film room and he didn't develop like how they do in that dark room when they put them films in there and they let them develop. So he didn't develop, and by Shakur's standards, he mopped himself in the corner even further, because the things he's saying about Al-Shaki, bad nights at the office, and what has he done? It's like, okay, so who over there at Zuffa you even want to be like? Now you acting bad and bougie. Where, you know what I'm saying? Where it don't work like that. Like they gonna, and this is what I said in that housekeeping, in that cook that we had when we found out that PBC, they came on in with the zone, and then he went to that island. Is that now he's kind of trapped. He's trapped over there, and and Dana and them are gonna face obstacles that weren't going to be obstacles like they faced in the UFC, because boxing is a different animal. It's all separations of power. It's almost like how the government got the 3 different branches that have their own little thing. It's like that's how boxing is. You got your promotion companies, you got managers, you got networks. All of those are separate entities, and right when it's all gelling, or like we know this is the known evil, what we already got, the traditional sanctioning bodies, like where yes, it still flies in the ointment. Yes, like the same way Keyshawn was able to get #1 in the WBO. No fake ass outrage over that, but they was outraged about Shakur getting stripped when he didn't pay them their bread, like for the WBC. So it's always flies in the ointment, but that's the evil that we know. At least it's a working system, and we are accustomed to that. Now we can clean up a little bit more. We can tighten up a little bit more, but Zuffa is going to face obstacles in this boxing world that they didn't have to face in the UFC. That's why I made it a point to actually keep saying that during that live. The other thing is, and I'll land so we can get into the meat and potatoes, is this. I called this a long time ago, back when I was calling Shakur and Keyshawn the young guns. And I was like, no, they really Batman and Robin. I say, and that's not going to work in the sport. I was one of the first, most vocal people saying that no, this brother stuff, we ain't gonna like. And this is when I was still kind of like, all right, okay, Shakur. Like I was still trying to give him before I ultimately said, you know what, I'm done with this dude. Like when they say ding ding ding, he get in the ring. That's when I'm like, okay, cool, we got Shakur in the ring. But outside of that, before they say ding ding ding, I don't fuck with nothing this dude is doing. I'm almost like that with Richardson Hitchin now. He got one last thing that he can do to where I'm just gonna be like, I don't fuck with this dude at all. Trying to give him a little bit of leeway, a little bit, because he was a starving artist. So I kind of understand why he did it. I don't give a fuck about Belongo, but I didn't give a fuck about Belongo going over there. You know what I'm saying? And I even say that I like certain like I like El Rayo. El Rayo was one of my guys. I was the one coming out saying that with El Rayo, that his coach had did him wrong by throwing it all on him after they lost. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like when boxers throw coaches under the bus. I don't like when coaches throw boxers under the bus. Y'all are a team. But what I was saying is, back when we learned that they had a covenant, like Jonathan and David from the Bible and shit. I'm like, man, that shit ain't gonna work in boxing. I said, and y'all not only gonna fuck up this division, y'all are gonna fuck up divisions to come. And this is what I'm gonna land with. We need to stop giving these guys attention until they start doing what we want. Like, we need to stop highlighting it, because all we're doing is giving them, because they go by the 48 laws of power, where any publicity is good publicity. We need to stop giving these cats good publicity, or any publicity. We need to stop cooking and talking about these cats until they line up and start doing what they need to do. Why? because the same way if this rumor is right that Keyshawn's gonna go fight Frank Martin, he just did the same shit that Shakur did, where he went up to 40, didn't want no smoke at that level. Keyshawn claiming, okay, I wanted Devin at that level at 47, but no other smoke. You didn't hear him say nothing about Rolly. You didn't hear him say nothing. He said something about Ryan a long time ago. He didn't say nothing else about nobody else at 147. And now he's looking back to a guy that's at 140. What did Shakur do? He didn't say nothing. He just now started saying something about Gary Antoine a week before he signed with Zuffa. He just said Gary Antoine a week before he signed with Zuffa. Guess who he was trying to fight? Raymond Moratai. He tried to 90-10 Raymond Moratai. So why would you go up to 40 and you're looking back down at 35? So why is Keyshawn, with all this mess he got everybody in, him and Jay Prince and Shakur, putting all these shenanigans, trying to get Devin to drop that strap? Because that's really, he's PUSSY, in my opinion, because this was all a ploy just to get Devin to drop that strap. And he thought he was going to get a free strap and then fight. They was going to arbitrarily like have him fight somebody else. So now he's looking back. So if this rumor is true, good news for Frank Martin. I don't know who will win that fight between him and Keyshawn. I really don't. I don't know who will win. Right? It's just I don't know. I haven't even sat down and really analyzed it, because back when I was pushing for it, saying y'all need to get it done, Keyshawn was running around talking about why everybody want to fight me. He just did the same thing with Andy Cruz. And Moratai got rid of him now, and then all of a sudden people start saying, see, that's why Keyshawn didn't need to fight. No, Keyshawn needed to mix up with all these guys. All these guys need to mix it up. But what I'm saying is, what I forecasted a long time ago is right here in our laps right now, where they are messing up multiple divisions. They are messing up multiple divisions with this stuff. So now he's at 47. He took the number one spot. That could have been somebody else. That could have been Rohan Polanco. That could have been Tiger Johnson. That could have been anybody else in that. Brian Norman getting another shot since Devin. You know what I'm saying? It could have been any one of these guys that's been there putting in the work in that division. And now he's going to look back to 40. He's messing up the divisions once again. He's just blurring the line between divisions. Why do we have weight classes in division that you campaign in, and belts? We got 4 different sanctioning bodies with multiple weight classes, and they're messing them all up. They're trying to devalue the belts in the sanctioning bodies. That's what they're doing. And I'll land right there. Mellors, I say it's a reason I come here to talk boxing. I appreciate you. Cass say fire. Cass say I don't understand. I understand what you saying, body, but I'm already past it. Yeah, I'm past them too. I'm past them too, for real. I really am. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I'm not one of them guys where I could deny the skill set that he has, because he is skilled. You know what I'm saying? I one of them people that was pulling for him because he wasn't what I call the name brand. He'll be like off-brand cereal, but it's just as good as the other ones. He just people don't know he's that good. I still say he got a nice skill set, but as far as the shenanigans outside the ring, it turns me off to even. That's why I don't promote him and do videos about him no more. Because I can't. If you start moving funny, I don't care if I like you, if I don't like you. I'm not going to sit up there and trash you in your personal life and what you got going on and do all that, go into what you got going on in court and all this personal stuff. I wouldn't want nobody doing that to me. But once that happened, whether I rock with you or not, I'm going to call it the way it is. And I'm going to stop rocking with you. And I'm campaigning to say, look, let's stop giving these dummies, like these PUSSYs, let's stop giving them attention, man. Because the more you sit around and cook on them all day, every day, and keep doing this, you're giving them pub. They saying, look, man, we got the internet buzzing. That's Devin Haney's claim to fame. That's his claim to fame, like always having his name buzzing. Half the time he ain't doing shit, they ain't doing shit but stirring people up. We need to stop giving all these guys attention until they start doing what we want them to do. You know what I'm saying? And let them sort it out.
Good point, man.
Yeah, and for me, I wanted to clear something up, because I've been introducing an argument just more as a semantic thing and saying, okay, if you're going to put this guy in this position, then as a fan, and even as a fan of his, as a fan of boxing and a fan of him, then I think these are things that he should be showing us. And I made these comments about Devin Haney and building up DHP promotion and showing that, yeah, I can make DHP promotion a viable company. I can do what Lamont Roach Senior and Lamont Roach, the Roach family is doing. You feel what I'm saying? But it seems as though some channels are taking that information and running with it like it's a real viable option. And that's the part that's kind of like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? Because I originally saw it from how he botched, you know, the Rolly negotiations, the same way Virgil Ortiz botched the Boots negotiations. So it's like you use the business to duck the fight, but the duck wasn't the thing you did. The duck, like I was explaining to Body earlier, the duck is the fact that you won't revisit that fight and say, this is still a unification fight. It's still with the guy who beat Ryan, so it still makes sense. That's the actual duck. The other part is you tried to flex your company, like your company is really built like that. Like your company is really a brand like Nike, Adidas, Puma. You feel what I'm saying? But you out here, you know, not even pro Keds. You like pro Skippies. The shit you go to the
cold-blooded, man.
The shit you go to the 99-cent store and they got a whole pile of them shits, and you got to dig through them shits to figure out your size. And you just sitting there matching the sole to your sole, like, if that fit me, it's saying it's a 9, but I don't know if it's a 9.
Man, you know what, I didn't mean to cut, man, because I didn't want to forget what I was saying, man, because Bobby, you said something. I mean, we cooking, man. Yo, like, share, subscribe, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to your boy. And I'm talking about Bodywork, man. Hit the like button, man. That's what I'm noticing about this whole YouTube thing. Hit the like button, please. Yo, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. What my standpoint when it comes to boxing, I love boxing. I've been watching it since like 1989. But the thing is, I'm not a professional fighter. I didn't have my fights and all that other stuff, but, you know, it's a technique and science to the whole boxing thing. So my commentary and approach is I always leave that for the fighters to, you know, to talk about that inside the ring in that work thing. I always give them respect. I can predict, I can look at styles, but I don't never overstep fighters and disrespect them in a personal way. My angle with them is, see, I'm a fan, and I think they've been playing on us as fans. I try to get fans to wake up. You are spending your money that they want. How can they call you stupid? How can they say you don't know nothing? Like, how can they say that to you as a fan that's paying your money when you go to a job you don't even want, and you see them get to go in the gym and working hard and doing what they love to do to get the ultimate glory? Because fans go to their job all the time, they can work their head off and back off and still gonna get the ultimate glory. So they look to the fighting game. I've seen it my whole life with my family, all the way generations up until now. Like, fighters give us something as people. And the fans in boxing, they've been manipulated with social media. And the thing is, they can tell you all this stuff is gonna happen. So don't put all your faith in these fighters like that. Give love to the real fighters, because one thing you do have is the consumer power. Mm-hmm. You are a fan. You have the dollars that they want. And if you're going to spend that dollar, why wouldn't you be able to criticize or critique the product that you are spending on? So that means that you need to eliminate this favorite fighter stuff and get back to the fighters who really doing stuff. That way we can see the real gems in this.
And that leads to the point that
go ahead. I mean, go ahead.
That leads to the point I was overall saying, in the fact that I'm just introducing something that I saw and saying, all right, if you're gonna go anywhere, this is a second or possible third chance for you to actually now build that thing. If you decide to do it, dude's just talking like this is exactly what he's gonna do. We have no concrete evidence of that's what he's going to do, because we don't know what the fucking deal is. And that's the part I was like, yo, hold on. At some point, we got to figure out what the actual deal is. And whatever this deal is will tell you what he can actually do and what he can't do. Me and Body was already like, look, we already know DHP is a shell company. You can try to pick it up as you doing all of these big things in boxing, but it's not showing that.
Yeah. This the thing, and we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes, but this the thing, y'all. We looking at it. We in the waiting seat. We in a holding pattern right now because they still in the middle of purse bid, and I thought that the timing of him signing with the Zone, that was kind of weird to me. So if because basically what he did, what I was telling AC earlier, what he did was he went to the network, and I heard a clown try to say now Devin is up there with the big boys. He's just like Top Rank. He just like no, he's not. No, he's not. The dude was a man without a land, and he went to a network. The network, if they're gonna put the fight on the network, they come to you and say, all right, this who you trying to fight, or what we got, or what you trying to do. Okay, you want to fight him? Okay, this is the budget we're gonna allocate to you. And then it's like, okay, cool. If it's not that, then we got this type of money for this guy. We got this type of money for that guy. If this DAZN signing don't lead him to fight Keyshawn, and Keyshawn actually goes and do this Frank Martin thing, then they both PUSSY. They both are. Because it's weird. It's weird that the timing of this is being announced now. Why are you announcing this now if the next announcement ain't gonna be okay, I'm fighting Keyshawn? That's the whole purpose of you signing over there. It's not for you to get out of all of this stuff and go do what you normally do, where you attach your name and you get all this hoopla. You get everybody. I always say that from Jason's lyric, don't get me when she said, don't get me all worked up if you can't hose me down. You got the fans all worked up and you ain't gonna be able to hose us down. Like it's just dumb, y'all. And like, and to Swaz's point, we've been manipulated, but they haven't been manipulating us for a long time, because we'll go other channels and listen and have the water cooler talk and do all that, but they are not putting wool over our eyes. We keep that shit. We keep our finger on the trigger, you know what I'm saying, with our eye through that scope at all times. So we know what's going on. You're not gonna flim-flam us. It's not a big channel. You know what I'm saying? So people ain't going, they'll take some shit, they'll take this and that and go and do whole lives and be motivated to do whatever else, but you're not fooling us. That's why we gonna keep doing what we do. And we're gonna get away, we're gonna get off the beaten path, man, with these guys that's just yanking us around and manipulating us. Like, we see right through that shit. So that's that, man. Let me get into the meat and potatoes, y'all, because as y'all can see, look at this. I got my man down, strap season shirt on. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to show y'all that. I'm a real fan, man, a diehard Errol Spence fan. And I'm glad to see my guy coming back. I had my concerns just like everybody else. But Errol says, okay, I'm reloaded. And I believe in Errol. I believe in Errol, man. I like the fact that he became spiritual. You know what I'm saying? I consider myself a spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm a spiritual person. So I consider myself a spiritual. I like the fact that he got in touch with the spirituality. He's been spending time with his family. He said that he needed time to heal, you know what I'm saying, all the way around. He came out, he let go of that burden, and he spoke his truth. Everybody tried to cook him again, and I was like, man, knock it off. We dealt with it 3 years ago. Everybody knew what was going on before he even got in the ring. He just came around and qualified it. So in a sense, I was saying, dang, y'all trying to make it seem like Errol was damn if you do, damn if you don't. If you don't never come out and tell this truth, or he wait till 20 years later and come out and tell this truth, most people that really care about it, they're not going to be around to really put context around the conversation. So I was happy that he got that burden off himself. He spoke his truth. He let his fans know. Finally, I did a piece on when your favorite fighter goes dark, what are fans supposed to do, because I don't like when they do that. If you got real fans, they rock with you. Just a loss ain't going to define you. Like if you do what Tszyu did, where you go in there and you don't even let your hands go, and we know that you got more in there, and you don't go out on your shield. Yeah, we're gonna talk our shit. You can redeem yourself by getting back in the ring and doing something else. But yeah, we're gonna be pissed off for a little while. We be all right. You just get back in there you know what I'm saying, and do better the next time and sell out the next time. You know, you go out on your shield the next time. So Errol, he's come full circle. He did notch up and go to a full 160. People was griping about that. I'm like, I gaff. I didn't hear Tszyu complaining about it. But what I saw in the face-off is that Errol, he's back to Errol. He's back to being Errol all the way. Like Errol in that face-off, you look, he was just like, because I said so. Because that's it. Like he was short, he was tight-lipped, he was real snappy with his responses. Like Errol is ready for war right now. And I was like, everybody was saying he looked stiff and all this and all that, right? And I said, well, I gotta see him. So late last night around 10 something, like around about 10:15, they showed a couple guys get in the ring and do their thing. Fulton didn't come out, but another guy came out. His opponent came out. Errol came out. Tszyu came out, and Errol is looking crispy, y'all. Errol is looking much like how Brian Norman looked when he got in there with that guy. When he finally joined Ronnie Shields and he got his first fight, he was doing that jab upstairs, downstairs. Errol was looking fast. He was looking strong. He was ripping that uppercut, same side combinations with that hand. Pivot work was looking good. Feet looked sturdy. He didn't look stiff. He didn't look none of that. And I want to remind y'all of Errol Spence. I want to let y'all know, because contrary to popular belief in these people that get paid to put out all this BS, I want to remind y'all something, and I'm gonna open it up. Errol's elite stoppage ratio out of his 8 completed fights against world champions. Now, Tszyu is a former world champion as well. He has stopped 5 of them before the final bell. Chris Algieri, Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson, Yordenis Ugas, and Alejandro Barrera. A lot of people might not know Alejandro Barrera, but like he was able to he got in the ring with Carlos Adames. Carlos Adames beat him. This is after Spence. All this is after Spence. He got in there with Carlos Adames. Carlos Adames didn't stop him, but he got TKO'd by Madrimov, and he got TKO'd by Yo Hernandez, the other guy that's up at 60 that are giving a lot of people hope up there. I call him Evil LeBron because he looked like the evil version of LeBron, but he got in there with them. But Errol stopped him. This guy Alejandro Barrera. So that's 9 champs. That's 9 champs. Y'all, we gotta put some respect on Errol, man, and we gotta give him the grace of being one of our guys who didn't move the way these guys are moving right now. He don't even take tune-ups. He's the one who birthed that saying, keep the same energy. That's Errol Spence. So I'm excited about it. I wanted to get into some of the breakdown about him versus Tszyu and what y'all see. But what y'all think about Errol coming back?
I love it. Hey, shout out to DF Dub. I'm from DF Dub. I mean, hey man. You know, and this is my thing, because you cooked on a lot of it. So I mean, yo, man, look, he lost to Bud Crawford, man. Like, that's the greatest fighter of his era. Like, can nobody even, man, come on, man. Like, ain't nothing wrong with losing to the greatest of his era. Like, you got to be able to dust, lick your wounds, heal like you did, go back, be with your family, get back in the zone, get your confidence back up, but get your reason back up to do it. What's your why now? It ain't like it was before, especially since you got, you showed that you are more, in a sense, he stopped you. So, for me, I think it's great because even, I think it's intriguing because Tszyu, for me, he stopped, what's my boy name from Detroit?
Harrison.
Yeah, but he stopped him in Australia. Like, I don't want Tszyu to become like one of them people who they put up against when they kind of know they halfway in, one halfway out. I don't want to see Errol in that situation like I saw Tommy Harrison. I mean, but even though Tommy put up a good fight, but Tim just finished him with the flare of fire behind on the side of the yo. Tszyu had a party that night, man. He stopped Tony. But so with EJ, I think EJ mean business. I think he locked in. I think I'm excited to see. That's what make it intriguing for me. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna be there to watch it. Whatever. I got the ultimate, but whatever it is, I'm gonna be there to support EJ. You know, losing to Crawford. Hey man. Can't nobody lift your head up, go on about your business and keep it moving, man. At least you got in there. So that's my thing with that.
Good stuff. But some context to Tony Harrison, because I weighed out. Tony Harrison lost his pops, and I knew Tony.
Yeah.
I knew Tony wasn't. I knew he wasn't right because he came to that press conference. He ain't had no shirt on. He was kind of wilding out there, and I'm like, man, like there's a couple teams where. Some fighters have been able to come back when their father was their trainer in their corner, but like a lot of guys like Mr. Gary Russell, he's so special that emotionally it'll if he face adversity, he may need his father, but I think his skill set surpasses the fact that he lost his father. He can get in there and he really had that skill set. But some guys to mention would be Tony Harrison. We seen him. Another guy was Jared Hurd. When your father is your trainer and you lose him in your corner, some of these guys lose something, and that was Tony. So I kind of thought that it was Tony was gonna get in there and get that bread, but Tony wasn't right. And we all know, like, you can say what you want, how he was outboxing Mel. I don't like saying this term, but this is the term that you could apply to that. Like, he dented that can. You know what I'm saying? He set the tone. Now I've seen Tim Tszyu in there with Terrell Gaucher. Terrell Gaucher actually dropped him. He wound up coming back, and I think he dropped Gaucher a couple times, right? But he came back and won that fight. But Tim been through some wars too, right? He got inadvertently elbowed. You know, he caught the elbow in the head, and then his team, not knowing the rules, or not, I don't know, I guess they thought he was just that dogmatic. They could have stopped it, and he probably would have won if they would have done it before the fourth round. If they would have done it up until 4 rounds, you got up until 4 rounds where they would go by the judge's scorecard, but they let that go by, and that was a bad coaching decision on him. He probably would have skated with a dub over Fondor. Well, we know what happened. Him being the soldier that he is, the soul snatcher that he is, he jumps back in there with Bakram, Boogeyman Bakram. He got smacked. You know what I'm saying? Got stopped. Like you can see that he suffered some trauma because he got hit one time. He was looking like his head was bleeding.
Where it came from.
Yeah. So then he got back in there with Fondor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So originally I was like, because originally it was speculation that it was going to be Errol and Tony, and I was like, I love that with Errol coming back. I love that, but then Tony just ain't right, man. He said he had an exchange with Jermell Charlo. He said some weirdo type shit, like something about a dress, some rainbow type shit. I was like, man, Tony just, he ain't right in this.
I seen a clip I seen something like that though. I did.
Yeah, his speech ain't there. You know what I'm saying? But I think that for where Tim Tszyu is and the wars he been through, and Errol coming back after that stoppage, I think that this was superb matchmaking. This is a crossroads fight. You there, AC? You want to chime in?
Yeah. I was just letting everybody cook. For me, it was the first rumor of this fight actually happening, I think, was like last year, or at least a year and a half ago, where people were saying that, you know, there might be an Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu at 160. I believe Swar was there the night we was all on B-Max channel, and we wind up 7-8 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that, just cooking on the fight and everything. And even when I was talking with not Cam J, but another Cam, I was like, look, man, I think the dude should go up to 160. 160, he could be undisputed and just completely whitewash this loss away, because, okay, that's the loss, but what did he do after that? He went up to another division, grabbed all the belts, and then he became undisputed. I was like, that's what you do. He still has that potential. He still has all of that ability. You feel what I'm saying? I was like, I don't, he could go for the rematch, but where's the rematch going to be? If it's at 54, it doesn't make any sense because nothing is there. You're just going for the rematch. If the rematch concerning, all the belts that you just lost, okay, at 47, but is it going to be the same thing? Because everyone is saying that, you just spent way too much time at 47 and should have been gone before the bug fight, but because you wanted that undisputed so bad, you stayed there. Some people accuse me of being an undercover Errol Spence fan, and I was like, okay, but I've always been an Errol Spence fan. It's just that the channels I was on, I didn't like how everybody just started shitting on Bud. And I said, honestly, I knew Errol Spence's flaws facing Terrence Crawford, but that doesn't stop me from immediately turning around and saying, okay, that's a loss to that guy. Anybody else, I still got you beaten. I got you beaten every one of the champs at 160. You know what I'm saying? They just can't fuck with you for what you bring to the table. And I'm happy he's up there right now. I want to see what goes on. And at the end of the day, Tszyu was another guy I said go to 160. 54, you had your opportunity. You weren't quite there. You almost got there. But 160 might be your true stomping ground. You feel what I'm saying? So for me, I like this fight with both of them at 160. I think it's the weight class that they should have both been at years ago. You feel what I'm saying? And now we're going to get the residuals. It's not too late. It's not like, this is bum fights and, this is just an exhibition and how great these two dudes can bitch slap each other. That's not what it's going to turn down to. Errol Spence, is showing some technique. His everything he's doing, he's looking extremely sharp in that. And I like his attitude. I like his energy. I like the mere fact that in the way he's talking, he's dialed in. What's going to happen the night of the fight and performance-wise, that's going to be something different. We got to see what Tszyu is going to bring to the table. If Tszyu is a rinse, wash, and repeat kind of guy, we're going to see if he's going to try to bring out some new wrinkles and stuff like that. And, with Errol Spence, we're going to see what this new trainer has him looking like. For some people, I'm going to land right here. For some people, it may be, they may be having higher expectations than what's really necessary. I'm kind of looking at it as the same way I looked at Diego Pacheco, the same way I went in looking at Boots versus Xander. There's tons of questions on both these guys' sides, and I just want to see how they respond. Am I picking a winner in this? Yeah, I'm picking a guy that has consistently shown me you're everything that I like in a boxer. Although I picked against you versus Terrence Crawford, that still doesn't mean I don't like what you bring to the table. You're a dog. You did it one by one, win, lose, or draw. You have to respect a former champion who did it like that because they have a muscle memory of how to compete, deliver, execute, and win at that championship level. Tszyu has not shown me that. So when I'm assessing this fight, I'm already the barometer is already leaning towards Errol Spence, who has the championship level competition. That is 100% Errol Spence bag. Tszyu don't have that experience, and we saw in the Andy Cruz versus Morataya, everybody was Andy Cruz gonna do this, he gonna do that to Morataya. I was like, I don't know. Morataya has that professional experience, and his attitude is telling me, Andy, you nice, you may be nice as fuck, but come fight night for us, it's just not gonna happen for you. for some people who feel that the fight was a lot closer or whatever the case may be, you cannot deny that Morataya won that fight. That wasn't no weird decision. That wasn't no, oh, I kind of saw the fight going this way. Yes, one guy was more accurate, but one guy controlled the fight. And just because you're accurate in your punching, that doesn't mean you're actually winning a fight. It's for scoring criteria. You're only controlling one. Who has the other three? And that's what Morataya proved. This is what I'm expecting Errol Spence to do. So my expectations of the fight is good fight, solid fight. Technique-wise, that's what I'm going to be looking at, pressure-wise, and how he responds. Both of them. Because Errol Spence can crack. And if we already seen signs of Tszyu having PTSD, what's going to happen when Errol Spence cracks him? And that's where I'll land that plane.
Yeah, I was gonna ask both of y'all, do y'all see this fight going the distance?
No.
Really?
No. No, go ahead, AC.
For me, not really. I see the fight a TKO stoppage, Errol Spence, late. Between I could say probably between 8 and 10.
Where that'll get Earl some rounds, and
yeah,
I don't see it going the distance either. And
yeah,
to Russell's point, he said Tszyu better jump on Spence from the start, or if he's in trouble. He said I could see Tszyu missing and paying, and I'm like, that might be his best shot, because I don't think Tszyu is technically sound enough. I think he's a brawler. He's more of a brawler than a boxer. And you don't want to brawl. That's what my prediction with him and Bud was. I'm like, I didn't know he was gonna try to box Bud. I was like, man, I didn't think he, because I said Earl would always win in an exchange. You don't want to exchange with Errol Spence.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I think the biggest thing is like my thing is like, look, and I don't even mean to be gruesome with it, but after EJ fought Bud, man, yo. EJ didn't look right, just after you see some of the pictures, how he got hit, how his face swole up. Like, you can tell, and I don't like to bring up that stuff, but he had a car crash and all the stuff that he'd been through before that. And then, come on, like, that stuff come into play when it comes to human health. So my thing is like, when I seen him get hit by Bud and I seen that fight, I'm like, damn, man, yo, that take a toll on you. So when he go into this fight, because that was the last fight that we saw, when he fought Bud. And that's the thing, 3 years is a long time. So my thing is, how is the healing going? We gonna be able to see how effective that healing was, and if the head movement from that he getting with Bud. Oh my God,
you more interested in his punch resistance.
But hold on, but what I'm saying is, like, will that head movement? Because EJ's style when it came to Derek. It was systematic. It was you in there taking punches, but you going in a cycle. You going in circles. It's like that's how he did it, and he could take those punches. The thing is now, after doing all of that, and then after everything, and then fighting against Crawford, you can't keep your head on the line like that no more. It ain't, those days is gone. So with the new coach, you know what I'm saying? I know he's legendary, but the thing is, let's see how that head movement go. But let's see how you get hit and react from Tszyu power, because Tszyu can hit you with that shit that'll get you out of there. That's one thing I do give him. He keep it. He fight with his head forward, which is never good. EJ needs to attack him to the body, but the thing is, I think that it's not gonna go. Somebody gonna get shocked with some shit.
Well,
so, that's my prediction. I think that it could go the distance It could go the distance if both of them whiff past that shock that's gonna happen within round 4 or 5. It could go 10, but the thing is that that's a big if. Somebody gonna get hit with some shit. It's gonna be a stoppage either way. It's intriguing. It's intriguing.
I'm gonna ask you this question, Swab.
Yeah.
The same way when we were breaking down the Bud and Errol fight. Let's try to put some of that same energy into this. The way, you know, people will come on the channel and ask us these questions. In this situation,
Right.
footwork, what box do you click? The box for Errol or the box for Tszyu? In terms of jab, what box do you click? Errol or Tszyu? In terms of power, speed, all of those different tangibles that we used to go through, and then dudes would be like, well, y'all gotta tell us how he gonna beat, how Bud gonna beat him. None of you Bud buddies is telling us how. And we're like, look, we're going down jab, we're going down footwork, we're going down this, we're going down that. For Errol Spence, I'm gonna use that same energy. Jab, footwork, everything. Most of those categories, I give Errol Spence that.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying? So for me, that's where I'm leaning more towards Errol Spence getting the stoppage. I can't really see it going that distance.
I can see that.
Case, how do you see it?
I know I can see that. To be honest with you, EJ's supposed to do what he do. I mean, he is. And he going to Australia, it's a perfect time for you because, again, you did just lose to Bud Crawford. That's okay. He's the greatest fighter of his era. That don't mean everybody else can beat you. So my thing is, you're supposed to go in there, shrug that shit off like we did when we was growing up anyway. Hell, you took a loss sometime, and you ain't going to always win. Shake that shit off and know that you lost to a great one, but go in there and whoop his ass. EJ is supposed to do that. But, you know, I got EJ pulling it out, but I'm just saying he need to go in there and handle business. Because Tim will have him looking like Tony. And I didn't know Tony was going through all of that. But that shit could replay. Go ahead. I landed right there. That's my stance on that.
Yeah, it could, because, you know, AC brought it up. It's going to come down to the punch resistance. But also, if Errol get back to what I got, what my whole thing is, body work, like Errol is the body snatcher. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? I'm going to know, because Errol got this sequence where he'll go to the right side of the body, he'll throw that jab, he'll go to the right side of the body, the left side of the body. If he's mixing it up and he's not predictable, Tim ain't going to be able to put up with that shit. If Errol can get through, you know, we going to see Errol get hit, because that's Tim's. Tim ain't going to be able to outbox Errol. Like, yeah, Bud was able to do it, but Tim ain't Bud, right? So, Tim, his only shot is to throw them haymakers that he be throwing, them shots that he throw. Errol gonna have to weather that storm or suffocate him with that pressure, because that was the key to victory that I had with him and Bud. It was like, yeah, Bud, he's gonna impose his will on Bud. That's what I thought, you know what I'm saying? But because that's what he was. Errol is one of them guys to where if you don't got the right technique to be able to deal with him, he can overwhelm you. And then as he started putting the water in the basement, then he started coming up top, and then he got you playing the guessing game. You don't know if he's going up top or down. That's what I'm used to seeing. And he got a beautiful step back uppercut. If he still got that in his arsenal and he thinks to use it, he's gonna do Tim bad. You know, so my biggest question for Errol, as an Errol fan, is the punch resistance, because I don't like the same way Tim was looking at his head. If Errol get hit and he, you know, like Ugas, like the way Ugas caught him.
Yeah, man.
But a lot of people bring up their car accident. I'm like, a lot of people bringing that up now.
I know, I hate to bring it up too.
But yeah, I mean, they bring it up now, but I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, he did put pause on Danny. He did put pause on Ugas. You know, he put pause on a couple people after that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if his punch resistance is all right, if he can take a licking and keep on ticking, yeah, Errol gonna get back to his ways, and he's
it would be a beautiful thing to see.
And for me, I wanted to piggyback off of Kaz's point that you just highlighted. I guess we were both looking at the same comment. Yeah, Tszyu does have good footwork. For me, the part that worries me the biggest in this fight is Tim's footwork when he does this particular sequence. He'll circle. It's like he stole it from Bernard Hopkins. He'll circle, dart in, and that overhand just comes. It'll be like a throwaway jab, but the jab is not the thing to react to. It's the thing that's coming right after that throwaway jab is his overhand. That's the shit that kept on catching Fundora, because he'll circle, get a little herky-jerky as he's circling, and then step in and boom! Just throw that lazy jab and just let that shit go. That's a pretty sneaky-ass sequence, and he has that shit kind of mastered. The same way, you know, I talk about Boots and his uppercut, how he can throw that shit from weird-ass angles. Tszyu has shown that he can throw that punch off that circling shit from weird angles.
Oh Lord.
And he does have a high connection rate. Sometimes it's on the top of the head, sometimes it's like right above the ear, slightly towards the back of the head, depending on how the person reacts as they're trying to duck and get away from the punch. Because you see it, by the time you see it, it's like a gunshot. Either I'm already gonna get hit or I'm gonna get hit in less than a second. So I don't really have too much time to react, but either turn my head in, which then makes it look like it's gonna land on the back of the head, you know what I'm saying, or behind. But at the end of the day, that dude know how to throw that shit. And for me, that's the one thing I'm gonna be looking for, because I think he's gonna try to utilize that a lot early on.
It's true.
Within the first couple of rounds, to at least get Errol Spence to be thinking like, yeah, now you're ring rust. I'm gonna take advantage of this, because I don't know if your feet are fast enough, or you're back into the rhythm to be able to duck, or you know, throw that hand up to block it, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So that's the one punch and that footwork.
He's smart if he would be smart.
Looking for. Go ahead, I didn't hear you.
No, my bad. I was agreeing with you, but I was saying that he would be smart to do that. You need to catch him with your best shit at the beginning of the fight. Because that's what you banking on. Now, if he eat it,
oh, that's a wrap, bro.
That's
I'm gonna be like, bruh, you just. Damn, bro, he just ate your best shot. But the thing is this though. I'm still gonna be leery, because when you look at that David Morrell, those shots didn't look like they was doing too much until they started doing too much. You feel what I'm saying? When he fought Old Boy and he got stopped, it was still like, yeah, Morrell, you running through them, but you need to start to do something about them, because if you just think none of them shits is really doing something to you, I'm starting to see that they are affecting you. You like got that little pause every time you get caught with one of them shits. You feel what I'm saying? So
yeah, like you got a good poker face, and sometimes that ain't good when you fight.
Yeah. In that type of situation, it's just like, all right, if you get caught and you eat that shit, be defensively responsible moving forward, because I don't want to see you constantly eat them shits until you can't eat no more. You got full off them he was throwing at you. You feel what I'm saying? Because then this is what the people are going to criticize you. Oh, Errol couldn't block this and Errol couldn't do that. Maybe it's his eye. Maybe it's this. Maybe Errol Spence is just washed up because he's not as defensively sound as he used to be. No, Tszyu just does this one particular thing extremely well. I don't go to Kansas Fried Chicken to buy a pizza pie when I got Giuseppe's right there next to it. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to the guy who's the expert at making my pizza, and that's Giuseppe's. He's fucking Italian. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, but with that being said, I'm just like, look, I'm a little nervous for Errol in that aspect. And even if he do get caught, we still gonna have the question of punch resistance. And if he eats it, everything is firing on all cylinders. You ready for this one, bro? You feel what I'm saying? So, there's going to be plenty of questions. And Tszyu does have some sneaky shit in his arsenal that he can actually let go. You feel what I'm saying? Because you were there, again, when we were, a lot of people were clowning me because I had picked Tony Harrison to beat Tszyu just on boxing. Tony Harrison is, to me at that time, was the pure boxer of 154 pounds when he faced Tszyu. You feel what I'm saying? And I thought his performance was going to be a lot better. But
me too, fam.
Yeah, maybe it was Tszyu's power. Maybe it was his footwork that kind of was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this guy to be that nice. And then, when he went on that uppercut run, he threw like them 4 or 5 uppercuts in a row that ultimately finished him. He made a meme out of him. You know what I'm saying? He definitely made a meme out of Tony Harrison, and that's not what I would want to see from Errol Spence. But it's something I would accept because it's like, yeah, that was a 3-year layoff. You feel what I'm saying? And eventually, that 3-year layoff may show itself somewhere in that fight. I'm thinking and hoping and praying it shows itself early in the first 3 rounds. He gets his sweat on, starts to feel like, yeah, this is home all over again. And then he goes in there and, he does what he has to do. And that's where I landed for that.
How many southpaws y'all think Tszyu faced?
That's a good ass question. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I don't either.
I think 3. He had Fundora.
I mean fights. Yeah, go ahead.
He had Fundora, and then he had 2 other guys. He had Fundora, and he had 2 other guys that he fought. One of them went to a unanimous decision. The other one, he stopped in the first round. And then you had, what happened with Fundora. So he had 3. So Errol would be the 4th one. So, Errol,
you learn something new every day. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Errol, he's it's just getting back. The ring rust is always a factor. Ring rust. Probably the first 2-3 rounds he get lathered up. And get that ring rust. Get the moving and bigger glove size. That's the other impact. Like he's going to a bigger glove size now because it changes from 47 to 54. That's when you go with the 10 ounces or whatever that's agreed upon.
That's good news.
So power. Tim is used to going with them 10-ounce gloves. This would be Errol's. He started off at 54. I think he had like 1 or 2 fights at 54. Then he went down to 47. So to the 8 ounces because 47 is the highest weight class with the 8-ounce gloves. After that is 10 or whatever y'all negotiate. So that'll be a factor.
Hey, see, we like if Tim throw whatever he gonna throw and Errol eat that shit, it's over. And now that you said that they're gonna have bigger gloves, that increases my eyes. It's gonna be a stoppage, yo. EJ about to stop this boy. With more padding? Come on, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
And Floyd told him, Floyd told Floyd, because at first I was like 160, but Floyd told him to go to 60. He was like, yeah, I think he should be at 60. So Errol was cutting
Floyd
down.
said that a minute ago. If I remember correctly, he said that shit a minute ago. You feel what I'm saying? And that,
damn near before the layoff.
Yeah, and that was even before the Bud fight. And that's why I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Looking at him the way they talking about his weight cut and stuff like that, some of the rumors between some of the fights and stuff like that. But he still made weight and he still did his thing. He just showed if a person when you look at a person like that, you look at 2 dudes who are athletes. One guy is a consummate athlete. Yeah, I don't do this, I don't do that. I'm a gym rat, X, Y, and Z. The other guy is an athlete that says, you know what, I do what the fuck I want. Nobody can complain. I still come in, blah, 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 this, that. I love Roy Jones. So you know, if you was to make some sort of comparison, the attitude of Errol Spence and Roy Jones' athleticism in the categories of athleticism, yeah, they pretty much, you know, are cut from the same cloth.
What?
You feel what I'm saying?
AC,
I rely
come
on
on,
my
AC.
athleticism, and I do what the fuck I want. Go ahead,
Come
bro.
on, man. No, AC. I'm just saying, man. Come on, man. Roy was. That's my guy. No way. No way. Not Roy.
No,
Like,
I'm saying in the sense of I'm
that's
not
all I was
comparing
saying. That's
to
all I
I'm
was
not
saying.
comparing them by boxing
I
skills.
know, AC. I'm
only
teasing. Go
talking,
ahead.
yeah, I'm only talking, and that could expand to dudes like Wilder. No boxing technique, you feel what I'm saying, or pretty much a one-trick pony. But look what the fuck the dude was able to do. You got much better dudes. You feel what I'm saying? And regardless that people want to say, well, he was moved a certain way. Okay, so why couldn't AJ be moved that way? Why couldn't Usyk be moved that way? Why couldn't these guys get the 10 straight, the 10 victories like Wilder did? And it was his athleticism. You've seen the pictures of this nigga dunking and doing all of this other kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the athleticism part catches up to you when it comes down to sometimes you meeting the right one who just has that technical ability. You feel what I'm saying? Roy did it like he had to move up. I was feeling that it was going to happen when he faced James Toney, the much more technical fighter who had athleticism as well. You feel what I'm saying? But James Toney was on it like the same way I'm saying Wilder and AJ were at that moment. Their mindset was, hey, listen, I know I'm nice. I know I could do what I could do. You know what I'm saying? I could even have sex the fight night, little before, you know, early in the day before I walk out. Bud Crawford even said he did shit like that. You feel what I'm saying? And then go out there and fight because it's your athleticism that you're looking to carry you. Yeah, I know I got conditioning. I know I don't get tired. I know I as long as I'm pressing and throwing punches, I can win. And that's all I'm saying. It's sometimes these guys who have these heavy athletic mentality and they know they're athletically gifted, sometimes that shit can be a gift and a curse at the same time because you rely on that shit until it fails you. And then you have to have that rediscovery of who you are. And I think this, and it's not for me, I'm saying I think this is the point I feel that Errol Spence is in. He had to make all of these adjustments, whether in his belief systems, in his actions, and say, yeah, my athleticism got me all the way to a Terrence Crawford fight. I almost got there. Almost got there. And I fought my fucking heart out. No one can look at that and say, yeah, I seen that moment where it looked like he quit. I seen that moment where Errol Spence looked like a defeated fighter. A la Xander Zayas versus Boots, a la Albert Bell versus Abdullah Mason. Spence was in the fight until the fight fucking stopped. You feel what I'm saying? Because his mind is built different. He's built from those same dudes, the Roys, the James Toneys, and all of those other dudes. But the athleticism part.
I remember when he got hit by Tarver. Oh Lord, second round. Oh wait, man. Oh my God, you talking about devastation? And they just came out with that song, man. Yo, we was crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, but he was 35. He was 35, man. I mean, yeah, he couldn't leap in there with that. You know, he couldn't do what he did. You know, defense was slow up. He didn't really have the greatest technique. You know, he was always kind of unorthodox, but really freelance. But it was just beautiful in his prime, man. I mean, athleticism. Hey, Roy was dunking, playing basketball games before the fight. Man, Roy was doing crazy stuff in the ring, man.
You know what it was? It more so than athleticism. What it really was this. More than athleticism, it was reflexes. See,
absolutely, I agree
because, but I say that Errol, he ain't really I don't think his game is centered around. I know what AC is saying as far as in the aspect is like some certain guys like I'm gonna do what I do. You know, like, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I do. I've been getting away with it, and you know, especially when they get stubborn. Like Wilder, he just knew that I got that eraser with the right hand. Roy just know that. Look, man, reflexive wise, he had cat-like reflexes.
I ain't gonna lie about it, but this is why I got pushback with that though. I ain't gonna lie, and I don't mean to interject, but I have to. EJ, I don't like the comparison. Reason why I don't like that with Roy. Roy didn't get hit that much. EJ whole thing been on endurance and body snatch.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't compare. I see with AC's point. I could see that is one of them. It's the mindset of I'm gonna do what I do type thing. Not it wasn't that. I don't look at it like athleticism. I don't think that Earl was getting away with it just because of my athleticism. I think that he got away with it by imposing his will. That was his thing. I'm just going to impose my will. I don't care what you bring. I'm going to impose. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to impose my will. Roy's was, I got my reflexes. Like I could get out of the way of that, and I can come back faster than they can be prepared for it. So when your reflexes go with Roy, it was different because Roy's reflexes go. I don't think that it was Earl's reflexes with Bud. It was the boxing thing. It was a boxing thing. Like he still, and you know, he wasn't Earl. Earl wasn't Earl that night. I don't care when nobody said y'all give me flack. He just wasn't. I'm not making no excuses. He just wasn't. But
he looked high to me, man. I'm just gonna put it out there, just for new people. I just allegedly, he just look. Yeah, look, I had my day with that smoke. You know what I'm talking about? And look, I know I've been caught on camera with that shit.
But this what it is. This what it is. Floyd and Roy, because of their reflexes, they could get away with things that the average person couldn't, because it's a rule. You don't back straight out. But Floyd could be in your face and back straight out right in your face. As soon as you stop, he stopped and throw his. Like he was very aggressive at being able to, like, because some of the things that Floyd did, he was very textbook, but then his athleticism allowed him. So I put him and Roy in that athleticism. He was doing stuff that if you try to do that shit and you don't got that, then you're gonna get fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Roy, it caught up with Roy because Roy aged and his reflexes wasn't like that. Floyd just kept evolving. He kept adapting. It's like, well, I know my reflexes. I still got good reflexes, right? But I know what I can do, and I'm gonna switch the game plan to this. He had different gears and different levels. Roy didn't have to go through different gears and levels with a lot of the people because he was just that much more down. Roy was really, him and Floyd was really a one of one. Like you're not gonna get like a prime Roy or prime Floyd. That's like, I ain't gonna even say generational. That's like once or twice, 3 times in a lifetime, like, you know, type thing, you know, what they were able to do. So that was my only point with that. But let me I got one thing, man. I got a extra credit. I got a little bonus for everybody. I wanna put this.
I just wanted to say this real quick. I may have used the wrong example to 2 heavy Roy Jones fans. So
yay, you know, Bodywork between, like I'm gonna tell y'all, between my original logo, that logo was really like Lamont Peterson and Errol. It evolved until me putting it into an actual logo. But like when I first started the channel, that's what it was. It was the fight when Errol fought Lamont Peterson. That's how I got it. That Bodywork, like that was Errol going to Peterson, because I like Lamont too. But originally, Roy was the guy who told me about Bodywork a lot before I was even like a boxing fiend. It was Roy. That time when Roy was in that fight, he bobbed and weaved and dipped and slid and he did everything, used all it, and then he hit that dude one time, bow to the body, and it was over. I said, God damn, I didn't even know, because growing up, when you in somebody's face, what's the first thing you looking for somebody to punch you in the face? But yeah. if we could reverse time, and I could tell you, Swat, and I could tell AC, look, man, don't punch nobody in the face. Like when you get ready to sneak somebody, hit him as hard as you fucking can and deliver. How many times, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would have been a bad man.
Yo,
right?
we used to
That's the weakest part, though.
we used to like with some of the people that I was running around with and stuff like that. We were kind of into the body shots because we would call it just I'm a crash this dude's body and fold him. You feel what I'm saying? And that was pretty much around the Roy Jones, James Toney eras and stuff like that. Because I think this is when people were really appreciating the body work. Going back to, at least for me, I was taking it back to a heavyweight body snatcher.
Me too.
And Bone Crusher Smith.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like Bone Crusher was like, until like when Mike Tyson came along, prior to Mike Tyson, like Bone Crusher was my guy. Like I was like, yo, if this swole ass light skinned dude crack you, bro, it's over for you. You feel what I'm saying? But like
mine was Evander Holyfield, man. Yo,
I mean, I was into Holyfield when he was down at the lower weight class.
But remember, he fought the Giants though. You gotta remember, Holyfield was like 5'10", man, athletic at these points, like a strong 195. 200. He had to bulk up to get 215.
Yeah, that's when. And that's
but I'm saying
he
was going to the. Anyway, I'm sorry, but
I was just like with Holyfield to a certain extent. I was like, I kind of fell off of Holyfield when I heard you started training with Lee Haney and some of the other professional bodybuilders out there, and I was just,
man,
you in that world of steroids over there, man, and you just got big way too fast. You like, nah, man.
You cold-blooded, AC. Go ahead.
Nah,
bro. His neck was, man. That man had he had the Brock Lesnar neck, man.
You know he
exactly
did.
With he had the strength. He had the what they call a stretch in his neck when that dude turned around. Like, nah, get a dude coming from damn near 160 pounds, bro. You don't get that big at heavyweight. Like, nigga, what the fuck wrong with you? I thought, like, for me, when he fought, I don't know if it was Kwawi or this other dude. I can't remember the dude's name, but I don't remember if it was Kwawi, the white man.
That's when they used to fight more than once a year. You know?
And that's when he went to whoever he fought that was in Rahway State Prison. When Evander Holyfield went to the prison to go fight that dude, I was like, all right, Evander's a problem. You feel what I'm saying? And that's when I really started to notice Evander Holyfield. But for me, like what I was gonna say as another example, I was gonna go to, because recently I watched the James Toney versus Michael Nunn and James Toney versus Iran Barkley fights. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, it was Kwawi. It was Kwawi at the Rahway State Prison, because that's where he just changed his name and became Muslim and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when I watched those two fights for James Toney, I was like, yo, that Michael Nunn fight, man, that shit was close. That was a real good brawl. I could see where some people made the argument that Michael Nunn might have beat him. You feel what I'm saying? But it was still a great fight, full of a lot of action and stuff like that. And I think they did it twice. But all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, looking at where Errol is in this comeback right here, and where his mindset was prior to this to where his mindset is right now, I think he's locked in. He learned his life lessons, and now he's ready to be something that he always felt he should be. Whether or not people want to say it's late or whatever, he's still doing it at a relative younger age than when Bud did it. He still has time, and at 160, I think it could happen for him a lot faster than what people think. And I'm just not a fan of all of these people who are trying to write him off, like the Sean Tizels and all of these other people that are putting these weird barriers and limitations and cones in the road that, oh, if I don't see this, then I say he should hang his belt up. Like, who the fuck are you?
It's already written. It's already, they already know what they're going to say. They already know how they're going to come out and what the narrative is. It's almost like, remember when I was saying, like, when it came down to Ashaki and Ray Ford, I was saying, man, if he don't stop him, then they gonna say this and that, even though it was a dominant performance, and they still came out with the bullshit, even though that was a dominant performance.
Yeah, for real.
So I want to there's two things we were talking about body snatchers. Now I'm gonna tell y'all a guy that
No, you just went out for a second, so we didn't.
Oh
yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all somebody who
and you were saying the two things.
Yeah, it's two things. One guy, we were talking about Bodywork, and I wasn't jumping on you nothing like that, AC. It was just I understood what you were saying, but I didn't put it in the vein of athleticism. I was putting it in the vein of that I'm gonna impose my will, like whatever your will is.
Errol I was just joking because I know how big of a fan SWAT is of Roy Jones, because we done got into it over Roy Jones versus James Toney.
Absolutely.
We done got into I don't know how many times of that, and I know how big of a fan you are of Roy Jones as well.
Yeah, that was my original induction to like Bodywork. Like it just opened up my eyes because we never thought about that. I'm like, man, I wish I would have known this shit. Because I was famous for punching somebody in the face. Like I was famous for like stealings. Like if it was on and I felt threatened, we scrapping. Like whether I lose, win, whatever, we fighting. You know what I'm saying? I grew up like that. I don't know. I don't know if I had short man complex back then. I'm 5'10" though, but back then I might have had short man complex or something. I don't know. But if I'd have known about that, shit. I'd have been going to the body, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think I'm gonna punch you in the face? Nope, I'm gonna wait and look. As soon as you exhale, I'm gonna hit you as hard as I can in your chest. Like, so now I know. It's like, yeah, if I'm gonna double somebody, I'll double somebody over quick now. But somebody that got underrated body work right now, and it's gonna come out of left field. And it's not a lot of people that call this dude name out because he's very awkward. That dude Beck the Bully. Y'all know who Beck the Bully is?
Yeah, I just recently started seeing him.
Yeah, Bekdamir Melakuziev. That dude, man, that dude was looking scary. That's the guy. If you want to look at it, go back and look at the fight with him and Gabe Rosado. Because Gabe Rosado wound up he might have got knockout of the year that year. But go back and look. Go back and look at look
sure.
at that dude.
I'm gonna definitely check it out. For sure.
But this the bonus I was talking about, y'all. This the bonus right here. And then we can wrap up. Let me see. Let me do this. And this is not mine, man. It's fair use. This is Oscar's. Hold on. Let me show y'all this first. Because I don't know how long ago it was, but when I be saying because I never want to come off as hardy or high-minded or conceited, but I don't know how it's been a couple years now, but I was saying that this is what Turkey is. This is what I said. This is what Turkey is. Like I said, man, I was like, because everybody like the Haney Voice, all these big channels was selling all the boxing fans up the river to this guy right here. And I was saying, my big question was, okay, cool. It's new people coming in the game all the time, but are they making American boxing? I said we have a right to be selfish in that. Okay, our first interest is American boxing, and then it goes to global. And we like boxers from all over. But I'm like, are these guys making American boxing great again, or are they pulling it down? We seeing the remnants of what's going on now, but originally, this is what I was calling them. But listen to this. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. This is a short one. This is real short, so I ain't gonna waste nobody's time, but just real short.
For the only segment in boxing that gives you the facts and makes you laugh, it's Clapback Thursday. So I saw the Odyssey the other day.
Great movie.
It was about the Greeks and how they invaded the city of Troy. By disguising themselves inside a Trojan horse.
Pretty sneaky.
They tricked their enemies to get inside their gates. And the rest is history, man. Today, Zuffa Boxing is the Trojan horse. They are overpaying a few boxers to make it seem like this big money will continue. But it won't.
The money faucet just keeps flowing.
Once they monopolize the sport like they want to,
Because they're a sneaky bunch of fucks.
Zuffa will pay fighters peanuts.
It's a scam.
Exactly like the UFC. It's the same model.
It's not right. It's not right.
They want to change the Muhammad Ali Act so they can operate as their own league with their own rules, their own rankings, their own unicorn belt.
What kind of gay club is this?
They're luring in the biggest names for fight-by-fight deals. No long contracts.
Fuck them, they don't know.
That's why you see Shakur and Conor signing a 1 or 2 fight deal. Never a long-term deal. But again, this is the Trojan horse.
This is how they work you.
They are overpaying the household names in order to look pretty and gain credibility. So more up-and-coming fighters will sign with them. And mark my words, once they get you to sign, they're gonna scale all payment back, just like they have with the UFC.
That's when they get you, see?
That's the goal.
It's not right. It's not right.
Look, the problem is the younger generation feels this kind of money will be available to them at Zuffa Boxing, but the truth is
They're all fucked.
that they'll be tricked into a very shitty contract where they must fight for only the unicorn belt, the Zuffa belt.
What the fuck is that?
And the ring belt, which lost all its credibility.
Now who's a fraud?
It's now a joke. Here's an example of how they're already making up their own rules. Ring Magazine rules state that if you fail to schedule a fight in 2 years against a top 5 contender, you will be stripped. That means Jayo Batai should have been stripped in May because he chose to fight a cab driver in Zuffa's basement instead of a top 5 contender.
You remember that?
But Ring Magazine didn't strip him. Why?
Because they're complicit.
Because Zuffa makes up their own rules. Even the IBF stripped Jayo Batai of their belt because they don't recognize the Zuffa unicorn belt
I don't recognize them.
that they keep trying to push down fighters' throats.
Yeah, nobody wants it.
And poor Jayo Batai, I feel so bad for him because Zuffa has him suing the IBF on their behalf.
You use him.
He's literally fighting the legal fight for Zuffa. It's truly disgusting.
Damn shame.
Look, once they have their monopoly, nobody will get paid anymore. They need all of you to be hooked in by this ridiculous overspending you're seeing right now. But that cannot be sustained. Just like Live Golf. So don't be the city of Troy, guys. Don't sell out.
Lisa, what's a sellout?
And don't open your fucking doors. The writing is on the wall. And Uncle Fester, fuck you. And remember, kids, never a hater if you only speak the facts.
Yo,
It's
you
your-
got the Mexican dude calling Dana White Uncle Fester. That shit is funny as hell. Like, wow, Oscar's
Hey.
killing.
That was a lot.
Now y'all see, man. Like people be catching on, but I was saying, because I say that Zuffa is really a feeder system for the ring, and Turkey has a controlling interest and influence on Zuffa. But I said the same thing about Turkey. That's all it's all been. It's been a Trojan horse. They get you in, all this, oh yeah, come on in, we got gifts and all this and all that. Once they in, just like a virus, man. And it spreads.
Absolutely.
So
No, hey,
that was the bonus.
I ain't gonna lie to you. No, that's a beautiful bonus. a beautiful bone. I'm glad you even put that on the table, my brother. Man, look. It go back to what we was talking about the other night. Eddie is doing good for Boots in his career, but he is from England. And the thing is that we was talking about Josh Kelly. I don't want to rehash that, but remember we was talking about he gonna be loyal to the countrymen. And the thing is that, they had an agenda from the jump. Like they had an agenda from the jump. I mean, for real, especially Turkey with the whole, man, come on, man. My thing is that Oscar, if they hadn't have been playing games this whole time, they wouldn't even be a factor right now. So don't be sitting here trying to be acting like you wasn't part of the problem of us not getting good fights as fans. Like, and now all of a sudden you just, like you said, you say they the chosen horse. Well, hell, you supposed to be the golden horse in this motherfucker? You ain't. Like, cause if you was that, you would have helped us get out when PBC was the other side of the street. And then when the new players came into town, now all of a sudden, y'all ain't the saviors either. Get up on it. You supposed to make it happen. Lead him, because we already see what time it is over there with Zuffa and Turkey. Like, and especially Eddie. That's what I'm saying. Eddie with Boots, Josh Kelly, it's going to have to be in the UK. I don't want to hash that back up. But Eddie in the same boat with Turkey. Like, they look, ain't nothing, I don't want to make it that. Anyway, man, that's a nice bonus, man. It's so much going on with that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And to just give that some context and to piggyback off of it at the same time, I can go all the way back and remember my full throat support for what Turkey was doing, because when he came into boxing, first he put on that AJ card.
Absolutely, I remember that. Me too.
And everybody was like, "Oh, we got a new player." The Saudis were trying to enter boxing. Yep. And blah 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 blah. So going way back then, I've always remembered Turkey's hand in it, and his hand in UFC as well. You feel what I'm saying? Here's the thing that brought everything to full circle for me. When I found out the details, and when Frank Warren dropped that lawsuit on Turkey Al-Sheikh and Zuffa Promotions.
I remember that. Yep.
And when he brought all of that out, you saw how far back Frank Warren's agreement and working with Zuffa was all the way there. And in the beginning, people thought it was really Eddie Hearn and Turkey Al-Sheikh who was really doing everything. But behind the scenes, Eddie Hearn, you were faced from, the 18. You know what I'm saying? B.A. Baraka, you feel what I'm saying? B.A. and everybody else was Frank Warren and what they were actually doing by showing you the game, putting together the cards, showing you how to navigate through the system. You took what Frank Warren was doing and said, "Oh, this is not going to work for us." Meanwhile, telling us you just wanted to do the best thing for boxing. You wanted to make this league and stuff like that with this, work with the sanctioning bodies, work with the promoters and all of this other stuff. Meanwhile, you were learning. So when people were trying to shit on Frank Warren because Frank Warren had dropped that lawsuit.
I remember that. Keep cooking. I remember that.
When Frank Warren had dropped that lawsuit, it just said, "Hey, wait a minute, what's going on?" You compile that with Terrence Crawford's beef with WBC. Compile that with Shakur Stevenson's beef with the WBC. You see these, you started to see, hey, wait a minute. Is there some sort of war? Is there some weird shit going on? And then we finally, get the announcement of what Zuffa is actually doing. It might have happened a little bit before, but the timing of everything was just like this powder cake. And when it exploded, they gave Terrence Crawford the match to light that shit. You feel what I'm saying? And this was and still is my beef with one of my favorite fighters. You feel what I'm saying? I respect everything you did while you were in the sport. Your exit from the sport is like, bro, why did you do that? And in you doing that, this is what you helped set off. Now you and Shakur are now being put in a place as generals / pawns to try to lead a fight between two entities that you're not even at their pay scale.
Good shit, man.
And that's where I'm just like, bro, I never expected a guy like Terrence Crawford, who's the stand-up guy for boxing. We were arguing that, yeah, the real true face of boxing was Terrence Crawford. He had the movie deals. He was doing this. He's a big sports name. When he shows up at a sports event, he gets involved in it, down to the people. He goes to wrestling matches. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this is what I expected of him, to uphold that. Okay, you may not be the mainstream, but to some of us diehards, you are our face of boxing. And then to go out like that, that's the biggest part that was disappointing, because then it showed me one of two things: either you were bored, or you were down with this shit going way, way back to before the Errol fight was made, when they said they had that picture of you and Turk Al-Sheikh. So how long has this shit been going on? How long has this game plan been put in play? We're going to get you and we're going to put you in play, and then, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. So certain things like that made me question everything. And now looking at where, all of this stuff ends up, it just has me in a space that's like, damn, what the fuck happened? And I still, even though there's all of these moving pieces, the pieces are moving so fast that I can't even recall the last train stop that actually had it. I have to log this shit in to try to follow it. And this is why many fans think that Zuffa is going to be this thing with boxing, and it's supposed to clear it up. But now Devin Haney just hit it on the whole business model. You feel what I'm saying? And there were even rumors that, depending on who lose, let's see who goes to Zuffa between Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu. So they're looking at it as some sort of rescue plan. But
yeah,
that's where I'm playing.
Yeah, and Cass said you cook. He said cook AC. AC be cooking.
Yeah, AC, yeah, he
I
do.
be cooking
Yeah.
too, man. But
I appreciate that.
the only thing is this, with the pro box thing is, in a way, yes, in some complexions, yes, but pro box was more supplemental. Like I always say, because at first I had a knock on pro box. I'm like, who is this? Then I did my homework. I did my research. I did a piece. We did an episode. Well, this before AC started coming over, but like that, like being a co-host. But
damn, that mean I came late too.
Yeah, I was saying that pro box was the IV that boxing needed, because you could go down there, and rebuild, retool, and come back up, and it's proof of concept. I said they have already established proof of concept. That's why I say we'll be hurting if pro box really went out. We'll kind of be hurting, because pro box is supplemental to the major players. Like, it's a much needed venue, and they didn't come in trying to declare war with everybody else. They worked with everybody else. They were complementary and supplemental to what boxing going on. Zuffa is adversarial. Like, they're trying to, like, they came in like, nah, we gonna crush all of the, it's like, no, man, we just now coming to good. Even with this last piece with PBC going to the zone, that was like really like the last piece that we really needed to happen. But like, they're trying to declare they declared war, and they were saying that they were going to pretty much disrupt the sanctioning bodies. And I'm like, we can't do that right now, because yes, are the sanctioning bodies perfect? No, right? But some of the crazy things that are being said about them, it's like there's always gonna be flies in the ointment. But this is the evil that we know. Like, we at least we got some kind of order, and like we working out the kinks. Yeah, they still do some wonky stuff, but that's subject to the different sanctioning bodies themselves. Like the IBF, they're pretty strict. They're pretty much by the book. Like, you can expect the same thing. That's why I said it comes as no surprise what they did with Jao Battaglia. Like the WBC, they done some weird things like with that franchise belt. The WBO, they just did something recently with this Keyshawn thing. The WBO didn't even strip Janabek when he popped hot for meldonium. Meldonium is not Ostarine. Remember, meldonium is a real
I remember
steroid. That. You know what I'm saying? It's really like it's not a SARM. It's not a SARM. It's really a PED, and it's known. They would slow to strip him. I think what's his name, Bawatsi or Bentley, one of them. I think they actually going to get the belt. That was something I was mulling over for another episode as far as housekeeping, but like they didn't even strip him. So I don't. It's like, look, man. If Zuffa, I always give somebody a shot. We need major players, new players to come into the game to, to shake it up a little bit. But the positive thing about Zuffa is it galvanized everybody else. It made everybody else work together because it was like some gang stuff going on in boxing, and it still is. But like it was more so, we're gonna do stuff in-house. So Matchroom can do stuff in-house. Golden Boy can do stuff in-house. The minute PBC say, we're gonna do stuff in-house. Oh, here we go. But they all were doing it. Top Rank definitely was doing everything in-house. If you look at how them belts was moving at the time when they were saying that Tank was ducking, all three of them belts was over there with Top Rank. I'm like, so how was he ducking? And nobody want to say yes to the fight. They keep saying no, but it's his fault. And they got all of the belts over there. Then Shakur Gold takes his one belt over there to Matchroom. Now he took that shit over there to Zuffa. They just got the positive thing is that Zuffa made everybody work together. It started making different. It made two sanctioning bodies say, look, they got a conference going on where they're actually now intermingled. They're locked in step. They're joined at the hip. And then we got everybody on the same platform. That was the only real positive thing with Zuffa. They got to get it out the mud just like everybody else because Pro Box had to prove proof of concept through time. They didn't get it overnight. We wasn't selling everybody up the river. Hey, go to Pro Box. Go. No, they had to prove that what they had was working, and it did. Look at the success that I'm gonna land right here. Look at the success that Lamont Roach had with No Excuse Promotion. He got a very nice ordeal. He's doing way better than that shell of a company in DHP. But Pro Box is complementary. So I wouldn't put them. Those are two different animals. So I just wanted to clarify that, but I think I appreciate the input. What you had to say, Swar?
Nah, you was cooking. Because I didn't want to even, when I was about to, man, look, Pro Box, you said something about Pro Box, and it's funny, like, to hardcore fans, like, and I don't even want to put it like that because I think boxing needs as many fans as possible. Casuals, hardcore, whatever, intermediate, whatever you call yourself, boxing needed, man. We gotta make make noise as fans to get what we want as a product that's being presented. Man, Pro Box, anybody like basketball in here? Like NBA? Y'all like basketball?
Yeah.
All right. Remember when NBA TV came out, but you couldn't pay like to see the actual games? They would just give you the commentary and sometimes give you a glimpse in like different games. Remember NBA TV on cable?
Mm-hmm.
That's Pro Box to boxing. Like Pro Box gonna give you insight where you can watch it all the time. But it gave us another outlet of boxing that was kind of genuine, real dry. Wasn't no animation. It was cut. It was right to the business of boxing, watching amateurs and all that. I love Pro Box for that. So I'll never. But Pro Box is like the NBA TV of like the NBA season pass. If you wanted to compare the two. So I think that. But I love Pro Box for that. Anyway, I just wanted to say that you brought up something real significant with that. So that's why I was about to, that was my intersection.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this before we go further. For me, I've always been a huge fan of Pro Box. I was watching Pro Box like literally when they had cards, and it was only like 200 people 200 people watching that card, and then it grew to 500, then 1,000, then 1,500, and slowly, you know, they're doing what they have to do now. You know, Rescindes, McCumbee, I believe Lester Martin, Bomac has a bunch of fighters that he was running through Pro Box nowadays. Angelo Leo. It's just so many fighters that are actually making some noise these days that actually were fighting on Pro Box. And, you know, I was putting it out there in the early days that I was like, look, would you guys be willing to work with, you know, Blair Cobbs? You feel what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they were like, yeah, we would welcome Blair Cobbs, but he just has to come with his promoter. So when you're at least in the comments of a Pro Box card, if you're asking like real legitimate questions, they will answer you, and you can like get into a nice little, you know, conversation or find out some, you know, some things from the people that are there. Either the president of the company will answer you, or Paulie, or one of the other guys, you know, will definitely answer you when it's a solid question. And that's what I appreciated about Pro Box and the platform that they were on, because in real time, while you're watching a real event or a real live interview, you have a legitimate question, you can answer it, and it's not like you're gonna see 50 or 100 comments go by and then they'll answer it. That shit is almost immediate in some cases. You feel what I'm saying? Just giving them the time of whoever's typing or whatever. But they've shown that the business model works, it's sustainable. It's the type of feeder system that actually had a Rashidi Ellis there. It had Jojo Diaz there. Lamont Roach, former champions and shit like that. So, you know, Lamont Roach's brother is building up a solid name for himself coming up through the Pro Box.
Najee Lopez.
Exactly, Najee Lopez. So people, they used to, you know, some people used to clown me, you know, Tszyu and Body. Y'all know Bold, who came through here a couple of times. You know, he used to be like, yo, AC always talking about Pro Box. And I was just like, bro, it's a solid platform. You feel what I'm saying? Now, if the Turk, and I said it back then, I was like, if the Turk gonna come out and do some shit like Pro Box, but put more money into the production side of it, then I'm all aboard on what he's gonna make it into like a league type thing too. Still working with the sanctioning bodies, and hopefully some of these guys that are, you know, some of the guys that are like Pro Box dudes can come there and like really build their shit up and stuff like that and make a decent payday. Hey, I'm all on board with it. But then when we saw you going after the Ali Act and everything, it was like, no.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
I know the difference between brown mud and dog shit. You feel what I'm saying? And right now, you trying to tell me that dog shit is brown mud, and I'm not buying it.
Hey, see, we all united over that though. Anybody like in the community at that time when they was doing that, like everybody who had different opinions, different stances, man, we all came together and was like, yo, you can't go after that. And once we seen that, then everybody came together off of that one. I remember that moment.
Yeah,
like,
it didn't matter if, you know, you were on the other side of the fence, a pro this fan, a pro that fan. It didn't matter. At the end of the day, that going after the Ali Act for that moment.
But you could tell who didn't care. But you can tell who didn't. I didn't mean to cut you out, but it's just, that was such an impactful moment for boxing fans and the boxing community. Like, it was amazing that people, you could tell who cared, who kind of cared, and who was just now new to the whole boxing community. Exactly. Because if you've been around in this boxing thing, and we all go back and forth, but on that one, like, no, you should care, because that protects the fighters, dog. And you could tell who didn't. Man, it was. I remember that, AC. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of something that was you know, Cass said it on his show when after he off of one of his last lives and stuff like that. He was talking about how boxing has changed. You know what I'm saying? And he was showing some things from the past fighters to how some of the present fighters move and being defensively responsible. And he showed a picture of a brain MRI, a brain who suffered impacts like that, those small concussive blows, as opposed to a normal brain. And he was like, what if the fighters back then were able to see something like this or had something like this? Would they have, still been offensively first, defensively responsible, but offensive minded first? In this era, they're defensively first and offense minded. You feel what I'm saying? Example, Shakur and Devin and some of these other guys that we talk about as pure boxers and the way the media darlings are. So within that space, I said, that's when we didn't have the Ali Act or the boxing or the 1996 Boxing Safety Act. But in terms of the makeup of a champion, the mindset, even though we're in this defensive first type of thing and rewarding the fighters who are defensive first and saying, well, they want to have their faculties and spend their life with their fans, which is beyond any boxing fan to really try to criticize a fighter on that, because even in my job, I have safety precautions. Every knife comes with a knife handle. It's not like I have to grab a blade with a towel around it and then try to cut, a thick piece of steak. That shit would be dangerous. You feel what I'm saying? But within the context of being a safety-minded first fighter, you have fighters that we're talking about: David Benavidez, Bam Rodriguez, Collazo, Brian Norman Jr., Oshaki Foster. These are guys that are defensively responsible, but offensive-minded first. But they can show different areas of also being defensively responsible. I kind of really want to put Tiger Johnson in that category. You feel what I'm saying? I kind of wanted to put him in that category, but we see those opportunities where Tiger just for some fucking reason puts his hands in his pocket. He takes his foot off the gas and goes into cruise control. We didn't see it in the not his last fight, but the fight before that, where he got the stoppage and stuff like that. So is Tiger one of those guys that rises to the occasion? The bigger the threat, the more I'm going to put my hands up. If I don't feel you're a bigger threat, I might let off the gas and go into cruise control. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the over under point I'm making is, when it comes down to the makeup of these fighters and looking at what Oscar said and looking at some of these young guys who Zuffa can be enticing to, the thing is this: who are you? Are you what we call nowadays a throwback fighter? That's the guys who Kaz and OG Kaz was talking about in his thing. But the downside of that was the brain trauma, the punch drunk. Just it breaks my heart to listen to how charismatic James Toney was when he was in the Source magazine, and he was like that #1 threat and all of that other stuff in the midst of everybody. He just got on a boxing trunk, got the 24-inch rims right there with the tires, and he just looking crazy mean. Like, I do not want to see that dude in a dark alley. Him and Marvin Hagler, I see them dudes in a dark alley. I don't give a fuck, Duke. I'm running. Fuck what you say. I'm out. I might scream "mommy" as I'm running. You feel what I'm saying? The niggas just look that fucking mean, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at James Toney nowadays, and to bring up that point of Cass, to hear him talk, it's like, damn, bro, you were like one of the best shit talkers and boxers out there. You feel what I'm saying? because you were so offensive minded and you really, really went after it, and you took shots that you didn't have to because you just wanted to let people know your punches don't mean shit to me. Roy never did that shit, and look at how well Roy talks. So the Abdullah Masons, all of these guys that we are as boxing fans and purists are saying, listen, put the spotlight on those guys. You feel what I'm saying? Put the spotlight on those guys. We can talk about the defensively responsible guys, but they're just not that exciting. Although they're the needle in the conversations today, they're just not that exciting to watch. I'd rather watch Brian Norman Jr. in a losing effort throw punches and try to take your head off than to watch Shakur Stevenson in a winning situation just using foot placement and a dab.
AC, I got a real quick question. Man, just to piggyback on what you said, is Brian Norman Jr. versus Keyshawn Davis not a big fight, like something that people would tune in to see?
That's the fight if Keyshawn was gonna walk away, that's the fight. If he walked away with, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you mad at. They're gonna be fire. They gonna sell the shit out of that.
Fire.
And listen, I don't know if that fight goes the distance.
It's fireworks, bro.
I don't know if that's a distance type fight. The way Brian Norman's looking under his new coach, you feel what I'm saying? And Keyshawn being taller and longer and still having some crack with him. He doesn't have that one hit a quitter punch. You feel what I'm saying? But it's the volume and his punch placements that will stop you. You feel what I'm saying? So
I didn't mean to mess it up, Body, but
I was done.
Question, man.
I was actually done in what I was saying. You know, it's I just found out that thing that Kaz brought up, it was horribly relevant to the way to this conversation, as well as if we're bringing in that bonus era of talking about what Oscar just said as Zuffa enticing these new fighters. If the lot of these new fighters are defensive first type fighters, then Zuffa is where you need to go, bro. Zuffa is where you need to go, because there are fighters out here right now that are reclaiming boxing, and they're like, look, I'm going to be offensive first. I'm going to be defensively sound in what I do, but I'm going to be offensive first. And another perfect example is Jihad Tucker. You know what I'm saying? So that's the point I was making in like.
Oh yeah, no, Jihad, no, I'm with you. That's a bad boy. Yes, I agree with you.
We just gotta see. You know. Yes, we're extremely critical on Zuffa. Yes, we're critical of big name signing to Zuffa at this stage. We understand that Zuffa wants to flex money and try to give everybody the perception of prestige, but do it from the mud, bro. Start off with some little names. Give us a year of consistent cards of what you're saying your business model is going to be. Because at the end of the day, there have been fights on Zuffa already, and the clock is still ticking between when these guys get to fight again. And if it's just going to be recycling this small little roster of guys on everybody's card, then it gets a little weird and it gets a little shaky. I don't think they should have really went after some of these big names right now, although I understand. But you've already given yourself a bad rap because you left a sour taste in everybody's mouth when we look at what happened to Ja Obitaya. Over here in America, he was starting to get rhythm, and then you go over there and you do some shit. We're all expecting you versus David Benavidez. All you had to do was hold tight. If you still wanted to fight Brandon Glatton, you could have still got the IBF to actually do that. You didn't need to go over to Zuffa to fight Brandon Glatton. So, yeah, that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So now Zuffa should have backed off and just went after, you know, lesser names, but good, solid fighters. lesser names, but good, solid fighters. Tried to talk to a Charles Conwell. If Charles Conwell is not interested in fighting, in the sanctioning bodies no more. Talk to some of these guys, Rashidi Ellis. You feel what I'm saying? And see if they, these are solid names that are low reward, very high risk fighters. These are the guys we've been said when we first talked about Zuffa, like these guys we think would be perfect for a Zuffa type of thing. You get there, you get up, you work your belt. Now everybody know you're famous. Now you can, leave your Zuffa contract and go back into, the sanctioning system, and everybody's gonna want to see what you got. What did that Zuffa, what did that being in that Zuffa situation do for you? Did it sharpen you or make you weaker? Same thing what was going on with UFC. Dudes coming over from Pride, from One, you know what I'm saying? For I can't remember the other one that started with a P, but everybody knew that UFC was the big stage. That's where you go when you made it. And for some of these lower fighters, Pro Box and Zuffa, if they would have ran like that, you feel what I'm saying? If you would have you still could have had the same business model. Your UBO tournament type shit, but you're just bagging all the tough ass names that are high risk, low reward dudes that don't nobody want to give a chance. Everybody wants to keep turning down. Hell, we even said Bakaram might be good for it. Because we're trying to think, how the fuck does Bakaram get back in the mix? So yeah, there's plenty of room, but you went after Shakur. Bro, you still pushing a hoopty and you thought you was gonna bag the baddest bitch. Now you got her on a date and you finding out that this bitch is ordering lobster, caviar. you feel what I'm saying? Krug champagnes and shit like that from a 2012 vintage, and you just sitting there like, yo, listen. If the homie don't pick up this phone right now, I don't know if we could pay this bill. This might turn into a dine and dash situation. Fucking around with this bitch. You feel what I'm saying? So that's kind of where they at, and this is where the boxing fans, some of them are jumping for joy in the street that Zuffa is failing. I'm just like, I'm a little in between. I'm pissed off at it. Am I 100% happy that it appears to be failing now? No, because there was still a place for Zuffa boxing. For some fighters going down to pro box, that might be embarrassing to see a Charles Conwell name at pro box. Even though pro box tried to put on some championship fights, for a dude like Conwell, he may feel it's embarrassing, just the way the early talk was. But Zuffa's supposed to have the Turk, Dana White. Those are sponsored by big names. Those names have branding to it. Turk money behind that. Dana White's behind that. Built the UFC. Helped build Zuffa. When Zuffa came in and acquired UFC, you feel what I'm saying? Over the other two twins, and I forgot the name of their company. It started with a T, Turtle or Turks or whatever the fuck that company was that the UFC was under. Zuffa came in and they just snatched that shit up and then made it into something different. Gave it the exposure of a WWE. Where for a minute under Zuffa, boxing numbers were getting destroyed by UFC and WWE numbers. We couldn't even compete. Their shows is 5 million, 6 million on average. Boxing, we struggling with a little 300,000 to 700,000.
Hey, AC, I ain't gonna lie to you. If Dana White was smart, he would give in to that sanctioning body thing, though. I mean, look, the uniforms, I don't see people being mad about going over there and signing to the uniform. That's what I call it. NBA 2K without the editing when you play it on the game. Like that uniform is, I hate it. It just looked like I was in the military, so the military uniform, that's what Zuffa remind me of.
Okay,
but so if he gave into the sanction body, if he gave into the, I'm gonna land it. If he gave into the sanctioning bodies and you actually could put the WBC, IBF, WO, WBA, man, you could put that beautiful color belt within it. Yo, Zuffa might have a product. You know, people might, as boxing fans, we might buy into it, but if Dana being an asshole and don't want to put that shit a part of it, man, what the fuck is a Zuffa belt?
See, here's the thing.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing, real quick. And then I want to ask you this question. For me, it's Zuffa made this decision. They made this conscious decision. Zuffa could have easily come in as another promotional company and or sanctioning body. You feel what I'm saying? That just didn't charge money. Do you know how many fighters with big names would have ran over to Zuffa knowing that they don't have to pay a sanctioning fee? You feel what I'm saying? Because the company itself has 2 other venues that can support the sanctioning fees, and it'll give legitimacy to the other 2. You feel what I'm saying? So you chose this particular business model because you wanted to control everything, which says, okay, for a certain level fighter or certain names in the boxing community that don't have the machine behind them, you are the perfect fit. It's not like you're feeling like you're going down to the D League with Pro Box, because we seen how Pro Box did it from the mud like that, and we saw all the you know, people were trying to shit on Pro Box because
for sure,
its
from
platform,
the
its platform was YouTube. How you got the Pro Box content? You got it through YouTube, and people, well, these are YouTube fights. Okay, but you watch content creators all fucking day on YouTube. The minute you turn on your computer, you're turning to YouTube to see who's cooking. There are content creators that run time slots. Body is one of them. So before it used to be 9:15, then everybody tried to take the 9:15 that were like being the opposite of what he was saying. Then they want to go on at exactly 9:15, knowing they was going on either earlier or later. Then he moves it to 7:15. So many fans of this channel know, okay, 7:15 is Bodywork's time. That's like a network show. Every day you know that, or you know, pretty much you see the notification. You know, all right, my TV show is about to come on. My TV show is about to come on at 7:15. Let me clear up, let me do what I'm doing and everything, and yada, yada, yada. But where I wanted to ask you, Tszyu, is because me and Body already have named somebody. If you were gonna name 3 fighters that you would think would be perfect fits for Zuffa boxing, which three fighters would you say are perfect fits for Zuffa boxing?
That's saying Jared Big Baby Anderson.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah. Because this is a beautiful question. Definitely Frank Martin. I don't know why he went to top rank. He would have did way better at Zuffa. I mean, for real. And then my last one. Oh, I had to put Gary Antoine Russell, man.
What?
Yeah, I would because he don't have no. Oh man, don't make me. I don't look. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying. I know.
Just your opinion.
Yeah, I know auras when I see him, and he just don't have it. He just don't. His brother did, you know, but he don't. He just don't. And I think that's beautiful because that was a hell of a fight between him and Ryo. Hell of a fight. I mean, I would pay to see that again, no matter what kind of venue it was in.
Okay.
And then, you know what I'm saying? And then the thing is, if you had a beautiful place because, you can go to 147 if you want to go over there with the big dogs. It ain't like nobody, and I'm not being disrespectful, but it ain't like nobody gonna miss you on the other side. You're not headlining.
Nah,
You know
like
what I'm?
me, I would.
No,
Go ahead, my bad. I was just gonna say.
Those are my three, though. Those are my three.
Me, I'm a little bit different on the last two. I like Jared Anderson. I still think there's viability right now, a lot of viability in the sanctioning space for Frank Martin. You feel what I'm saying? Because
you think so,
a lot of people want to fight Frank. You feel what I'm saying?
But AC, he had a draw
depends
with
on where he
Albright,
goes.
though. He had a draw with Albright, though.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, brother. You know what I'm saying, AC.
But what I'm saying is, that was ugly because there was a time where he could have got Albright out of there, and Albright could have got him out of there. So the draw aspect of that particular fight, I thought that was a good call between the refs. I thought they had got it on point. But I still think, I think Albright might need to go to Zuffa, but Frank, I still feel Frank still has
hey, AC, can I get a trade then? Can I get a trade? I'm gonna trade that then. Cause I didn't even think about that. Albright. I'm gonna replace it as my top three.
Okay, all right. You skip that. Gary Antoine, he just came off an impressive ass victory.
I knew he was gonna give me pushback with that.
Because he's somebody that still has it, even though he has that loss. To me, he still has the potential to go ahead and do great things. Now, if I'm gonna look at Gary Antoine Russell, and for me, the night of the fight, like I said, the body, I was thinking to myself, looking at that fight, once Andy Hiroka started throwing his punches and stuff like that, and then we started to get the fight that was going, I was like, look, man, could this possibly be the two best guys at 140 right now going at it? And
AC, I gotta ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I gotta ask you a question because I ain't want to cut you out because you cooking. We cooking tonight. Like, share, subscribe, hype the boy up. We come on, man. Salute. Anyway, AC, hey man, Shakur raised the bar for me. If Shakur hadn't went over to Zuffa, I wouldn't have to look at the lower tier, and no disrespect to them as far as like who would be made for Zuffa. And now that Zuffa got Shakur, why would anybody else that's below in his words be suspectful to go to Zuffa?
And that's where we're talking about, or
go ahead. That was my thing. Yeah.
But just to answer that question, this is where we're talking about where Zuffa might have played its hand too fast. Build it from the mud, get a lot of these little lower names and just show us great fights like Pro Box did. Angelo Leo got knockout of the year.
I agree with you.
On a Pro Box card. On a Pro Box card. So at the end of the day, bro, Pro Box has given us some great knockouts. They've given us some great fights. They built names and stuff like that. And this is why I asked for your three names. Now, I'm gonna say this. Where we're looking at a lot of these Japanese fighters and trying to be like, without the guys that did the Honda, Mr. Honda, and some of those other guys, don't want to put money in like that and stuff like that, they would be great for Zuffa. You feel what I'm saying? And then matriculate back into Japanese boxing or whatever. So Zuffa has the ability to acquire a lot of talent, but they're just trying to build a platform off of convincing you that, there is, I would put it like this, and I'm gonna use this analogy. Zuffa's trying to come at you like a new sneaker brand by telling you their sneaker brand is actually better than Nike, Adidas, and Puma. And you sitting there like, nigga, those are the sneakers that you just stole a model off the sneakers at the 99-cent store that are on the table that you got to try to fit on your feet. That's who you really are. You can't sit there and tell us that, your shoe is actually more valuable, it's more prestigious than Nike. And Nike's been around, for years, decades. So you can't convince me of that. The UFC has not had that type of prestige yet. Even though it's been around for a couple of decades, it still can't compete to boxing. So nothing you have on your side is actually more prestigious, more legendary, more legacy than what these guys got going on over here. And just because the Turk acquired the Ring magazine made its choice when it decided to change the lineal champion rule to say if you're inactive, then they can strip you. When the lineal champion rule was you got to beat the man. It's not a Mr. 1 and number 2. It's who beats the man, who was the man. Beat the man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. And if somebody broke the lineage, you have to wait until somebody comes back along, clears up the division, has a substantial number of title defenses, is actually what is called a reigning champion. Not because you got the belt, now you're supposed to be the guy who reigns supreme over everybody else. That's not a reigning champion in the context of the legacy of how we looked at reigning champion. But now that the Ring magazine was bought by Oscar and Oscar decided to change the rules, and then Turk decides to change the rules, again, the legacy part of lineal championship no longer exists. So we are not looking at the lineal champion until the guys who are still known as the lineal champion, they come back and somebody beats them. Right now, Shakur Stevenson at 140 is a real lineal champion. People may want to, he's still a real lineal champion. You feel what I'm saying? Mel Charlo is still a real lineal champion. Terrence Crawford, no. At 47, yes. 68, no. And I think that's an Inoue. I think those are and maybe you can say Usyk. Those are our last 5 real lineal champions. Everybody else is just a ring champion. So we only have 5 examples that people are keeping, like being true boxing fans and saying, yeah, this is the lineal championship.
Yeah, for real.
Ring doesn't offer that anymore. We only have a handful of real lineal champions, and until somebody beats them, then it's something different. You know, maybe Bivol. If there was a lineal belt on deck, but Body, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think you're trying to. Yeah, I think you cutting in and out, Body.
I was just letting y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
I was letting y'all cook. What service? Where you was at, Squad? You was in the Army?
Yeah, I was in the Navy.
Oh, the Navy. Okay.
I mean, Army got Navy. You know what I mean? VF.
Yeah, I was in the Army. OG Cass, he was in the Air Force, I believe. And Crush, the legend, I think he was in the Army.
Hey, Army cats got the best jokes about all the armed forces, man. They got like a book or something, man. They got all the jokes about everybody. Marines, Army. But man, salute to my brothers, man. Hey, man, brothers of the sword. That's why I call all of us, man. Yo,
yeah, my father was in the Marines. He was a Marine, but I didn't know that, man. Salute. Thanks for the service. Thanks for your service too, OG Cash. But how y'all want to land so we could wrap it up, man. How y'all want to land? Good cook though, man. Great point. I would just sometimes I just let it go, man. Let people cook, because when I listen to the playbacks, it'd be jewels, you know what I'm saying? So appreciate the cook. How y'all want to land, man? What's y'all final thoughts?
I'm gonna land real quick, because I got the little one, man. But hey, today was a good day, man. But first, man, like Body, man, I appreciate you, and AC, man, I appreciate both of y'all, just because I got my channel, man. I'm a little, I spit it how I feel, I spit how I feel, And the thing is, I always come from a perspective of being a fan. You know, in my personal life, do I have my professions? Do I have things, you know, that I know I'm an athlete. I know what that life is like, but that's not my approach, because my everyday is just being a fan of seeing things that I love and display it. So, you know, for you to let me up here, AC, man, just to be able to cook with y'all on the sport we all love, man, hey, man, it's just a blessing in that, in a sense. And, you know, just growing my channel, I've grown to love panels and grown to love people who will get on social media and really put their opinion out there. I just got a lot of respect for both of y'all. No cap. And anybody that do it. Man, I like to say this. Boxing is giving us a lot of content that I think we getting tired of, man. It ain't soap operas. Like, I'm sick of the in between. What if, what's this is gonna happen? You know, I'm actually thankful for every Saturday that they've been giving us that have real fights. You know, maybe not the fights that we got on our dream board, but man, at least we're getting boxing matches, and I don't really care who it come from. Zuffa, the reason why I don't like I wouldn't have a problem with Zuffa, to be honest with you, if Shakur hadn't went over there. And because my thing is that we ain't minding anybody contributing to boxing. You just so happen to be top 3 pound for pound, and we all been wanting these fights to see you in for years, damn near a decade now. And you go and create another barrier when all the umbrella, everybody working together. That really upset me about boxing. So my thing is, I'm ready for boxing to stop being a soap opera, stop with the buddy systems, and let's get some good fights going, so we can see everything in real time, and we can give you praise, give you flowers, or give you critique. But give us something, man, because if you want our money, yo, give it to us before we die in this motherfucker, man. And that's what I'm gonna hand on with that.
Word, Swab. Hey, put your link in the chat, and if you rock with the channel, man, rock with Swab, man. Great boxing mind, very respectful, and we'll check you out, man. But put your link in the chat, and hopefully a lot of people that rock with me will rock with you.
And you know what's funny? What's funny about it, man? I'm so new to it. I still gotta like edit the videos. Yo, y'all do what y'all do. I'm learning to do. Yo, I'm gonna get my link, and then I'm gonna put it. I gotta log out, put it in the chat. But anyway, man. Yo, man. Anyway, man. Blessings to you. I'm learning from you, brother. So I appreciate y'all.
All right, no problem, man. Enjoy your evening, man. Till the next time.
Oh man, you too.
All right, man. What you got, AC?
We'll bring it full circle, man. The extra bonus credit, yeah, that was good to get off the chest as well, because there was some more meat on the bone for there, and to bring certain aspects in that. I'm like, okay, it was on Kaz's channel, and he brought that point up, and that was so relevant to what Oscar was saying. You know what I'm saying? Because now we have to kind of look at the fighters who are coming in. What is your mindset? And if we're getting the overwhelming side of defensively responsible guys, it's just going to be the defense era. You know, we had the knockout era, we had the boxer puncher era, we had the Crawford era, Canelo era, Mike Tyson era, Floyd Mayweather era, you know, De La Hoya era, you know, and you can just keep going back. And some of these era, there were multiple fighters who were in that foot race of claiming supremacy over that era. We had the conversation here where we were talking about the Latin face, you know, who's in the foot race for not just the Mexican face, not the Puerto Rican face, Argentinian, just the whole Latin face of boxing. You feel what I'm saying? And we put our names out there and things like that. So yeah, we're keeping our fingers on the pulse and trying not always to have the same type of show. To bring it full circle and bring about this Errol versus Tszyu. This is going to be a good fight. For me, it's going to be an informative fight as well. But I'm still looking at the at the entertainment value of it, and I like the space Errol Spence is in. I like his attitude. I like his energy. He seems to be, cool, calm, and collected, and precise. And sometimes, when you got the laid back guy, and he becomes a little bit more laid back, and you see he can't be shaken or riled up or whatever, then sometimes that may be a sign that that's a actual quiet storm. And you should look at that instead of saying, well, I don't know why and this and that, and trying to find the things that's wrong. How about you just stop and look and ask yourself what could be positive? Like they always said, and even Biggie put it in the record, bad boy moves in silence, in violence. That's what they say the bad boys moving. Biggie said silence and violence. So Errol Spence is in a violent sport. So if the laid back guy becomes a little bit more silent, and his sentences are limited to 3 words or 2 to 6 words, then his mindset is dealing in violence, and that's why he's silent. Just look at yourself. When you really pissed off and you ready to hurt something, you ain't really out here talking like that, unless you're talking to one of your homeboys and he just trying to talk you off that ledge. But other than that, you like, listen, I'm not really in the mood to talk right now. I just gotta figure this shit out so I can get over there and put hands on this motherfucker. And that's how men think. So to think all of this negative stuff and go down that route before, it's like, God damn, I never in my life seen that many people who are negative against Errol Spence in his comeback. And pretty much with that being said, that's where I'll land it. But I'm looking for a good fight from Errol. I'm looking for him to win and get the stoppage.
Word, AC. Well, I'm sure I'm gonna hear more. I'm gonna even dive in even more on the playback. I always judge the playback and see where I could get better or where we could do better. So I know there's a lot of jewels dropped between y'all two on this one, man. I appreciate your contribution as always, man. Hopefully you enjoy the evening, man. And don't forget Boo Boo fight tomorrow night. And we just got to look forward to the weigh-ins tomorrow. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up once you get off.
Yeah, for sure, man. Salute to everybody. Hit that like button. Hit that, subscribe and everything, bro. This is a channel where you just gonna get it. We don't always have to agree, but at least we're dealing in boxing conversation. And salute to everybody. Salute, Swa.
All right. Well, yeah, I got my shirt on. I support my guys. I'll get merch if I need to, man. I even heard somebody repeatedly hating on the fact that Earl had merch, talking about the shirts was overpriced and all that. It's a real slander / hit campaign still on PBC. That's why I say even when they come to the party and they join the ranks of all the other promotional companies and they get on the zone, people still got something bad to say. It's the same reason why Maul's comeback is being marred. Earl's getting all this hate on his comeback. People don't act like Jermell Charlo don't even exist. They saying David Benavidez is ducking. I can't make this stuff up, man, and I'm not a respecter of promotional companies. It just so happened that a lot of my guys were fighting on the PBC. A lot of the guys that I rock with, my top 3 guys, Tank, Errol Spence, and Jermell Charlo, they was all with the PBC. They all inactive. That didn't stop Bodywork, the channel Bodywork. It didn't stop the channel from doing what it do. And I never made a living off of, even though everybody know I'm probably the biggest Tank fan on the planet, but that's not what I built my channel around. So I'm not gonna talk about him all day, every day. When he get active, he get hot. We'll come up. We'll get creative with what we got going on. You know, before I get to Errol, I'm gonna address the Zuffa thing. The way I see Zuffa is they started it, right? And you get a lot of this, this concept that I've been mulling over. You get a lot of it in the rap game. You know, I'm a huge music fanatic, and some people, they can get away with coming in the game beefing with somebody, and that be their claim to fame. You know, 50 Cent came in with the How to Rob, and he did that song How to Rob, and it just took everybody by storm. They're like, who is this guy talking about what he'll do to Jay and Nas? It was just crazy because everybody had respect. He did it. You know, him and Ja Rule went at it. And what'd he do to Ja Rule? He said, you sing the hoes and you sound like the Cookie Monster. And then you heard 21 Questions. Well, he was on there crooning and doing all that. So he pretty much upended Ja Rule by saying, you whack for singing and doing all this. And then he wound up doing the same thing. He didn't stop there. He wound up having a production company and doing this thing in the movie space. And, you know, he's a genius. 50 Cent is like one of the hardest working people in quote unquote show business. He even tried to put his hands in the sport of boxing at some point. I think he did. I think he was ultimately the one who got behind Gamboa, if my memory served me correct. For a stint, him and Floyd was real cool. But we see a lot of that. And in the vein of what 50 Cent did to Ja Rule, that's what Zuffa is doing to the sport, to the sanctioning body. It's real ironic how, you know, it was this campaign to devalue the belts and all this push to where, like, no, you heard Bud say, oh, man, F that belt, blah, blah, blah. But you got to understand everything that the sanctioning bodies do. They deal with the insurance. They sanction the fights, the doctors, all of that stuff. Somebody has to do that. And people who work for these sanctioning bodies, they don't work for free. There's a lot that go on behind these fights. Because if anybody could do it, everybody would do it. Hell, if I had enough bread, I would do it. You know, but it don't work like that. But it's odd how Bud came out, he devalued the belt. Shakur, he spewed these lies about how the sanctioning body did him wrong. They didn't do that man wrong. When you represent their belt and that's your likeness, like, yeah, you get paid and it's a percentage. And a lot of the time they work with you. I think Bud told on himself when he was out here talking about how much he made, and I don't pocket watch, but he was telling everybody how much he was gonna get paid, and come to find out he got paid way more than that. And the sanctioning body was like, hold on, you getting paid how much? And they work with him. But it was this campaign for Shakur to try to get Devin to drop that belt. Why? Because they want to devalue the sanctioning bodies. For what? For their belt. I always joke about this all the time. I say, man, if me and AC got together and we said we were going to start our league, and then we started taking people. We took Tank, we took Devin, we took Keyshawn, we took, you know, the who's who in the game, and we took them and brought them over to our side and said, no, this. Or every time we went to go build ours, we would take somebody from that ranking system over there to put them in ours. You are a hypocrite when you do that. And had they come in, just like on YouTube, people do this all the time. They come in, they start beefing with you. They come in, they see your material, they steal your material, they use your talking points, and then they try to like start beefs with you. It's like you can't come in the game like that. If you came in respectful and you was like, hey man, I like what you got going on, and you know, I feel you and I rock with your channel, I like this. Hey man, you mind if I, yeah, then that's cool. That's how Zuffa did it. They came in talking about, we gonna wage war on the sanctioning bodies. It's like, how you gonna wage war on the sanctioning bodies and try to duplicate exactly what they do? So your belt should be above all them. When you picked a guy like Brandon Glanton, who was like number 11 or 12 at the time, he mysteriously became number 10. You take Jao Batal over there. It's never about what we have in our interest. It's not about us getting the big fights. That's what I want everybody to understand. Listen to me. It is not about the fans and delivering a pristine product. It's not about that when it comes to them guys. They're different. Pro Box was like that. Like value for fans and putting on for fans, and they came in working. They were supplemental to the sanctioning bodies. Salute to Thomas Hill. But it wasn't about that. What Zoof and them is doing and what everybody is ushering us into and how they selling us up the river. They sold us up the river to Turkey. It was never about them putting on the big fights. Why? Because when we had big fights, they were saying it was money, money, money. That was the only thing that was holding it up. But we see that money is not the cure to everything. You know, how many times you done seen a woman and she with a dude and you could tell that she only with him because of the money? Shakur's only with them because of the money. It's not because he cared about the fans. He done told you as much. Not because he cared about delivering a product, because he said, listen, y'all don't know shit about boxing. You tell people that done bought tickets, done paid them, that supported it, and got online and argued tooth and nail, done beat up trolls for him, then went tooth and nail to war and said, look, respect this guy and this and that, and he don't care. It's not about them delivering a product for the fans. It's not about making the biggest fights. Why didn't we get Bivol and Benavidez? Because Turkey said, don't bite the hand that feeds you. That's not about big fight. Why did we didn't get Virgil and Boots at one point in time? Yeah, it was an offer made. Boots said no, but why didn't we get it right when money was just the big thing? Because we thought, okay, if you got this big turkey bag, sprinkle something on there and let us get the fight. It wasn't about that. It's about control. The same reason why right when Tank was lighting fire, right when he got up under the umbrella of Floyd and he was popping out his shell, all of a sudden, Tank couldn't get a fight. And people complaining about how we got to Lamont Roach. AC always say, how did we get there? Well, how do we get there where we got this one fighter who should be fighting this guy and this guy and this guy, but this guy and that guy say no? And they got control of the media where they say, oh, well, he's dead ducking and he don't fight nobody. Well, how the fuck I'm going to fight somebody if everybody's saying no? Everybody turning down the biggest payday that they would ever have by saying no. It's because the object of the game, it just switched. I don't know why y'all don't see this. The object of the game for Turkey was to get in the way of any major piece that could be opposite end of any major piece that the PBC had. He did it to Benavidez. So let's not limit it just to Tank. Because anybody in and around Tank weight class, he wooed them and pursued them. He made some of them ambassadors. He paid some of them big bags to go over here and go over there, whatever. Think about it. So he did the same thing. That's the whole play with Shakur. They thought that he's the number 3 now. Everybody gonna want to fight him. Well, let's take him and put him over there and make everybody have to work with us to get the fight. He's finding out the hard way that it ain't that easy. And a guy came in the comment section and was talking about, well, Zuffa is just like Pro Box. No, it's not. It's not. Is there a place for people over there on Zuffa? Yeah. People that probably the people that maybe Pro Box couldn't afford to pay like something complimentary to what they are used to getting because they have had some level of success, right? But then they're getting put on the back burner. Why? Because just like in every other thing, they put people on the shelves in boxing. What you think happened to Demetrius Andre when he went over to Matchroom and he never got a Triple G, he never got a Canelo? He got put on the show. What you think happened to Charles Conwell, how he mysteriously, he lose one fight to Chino Perez, and Chino Perez just mysteriously get a fight with Xander Zayas, and then Xander Zayas get to go right into a unification. What you think happened to Blair the Flair Cobbs? So the thing is, man, like when you look at it, this is a power play. What Zuffa's whole mission is to get pieces to disrupt and interrupt. They got raked over the coals. He lost his shirt. He had to go against everything that he said in Dana by making that Ryan and Conor Ben fight. Why? Because they had Ryan under contract. Turkey had him on the contract. Turkey is affiliated with Zuffa. That's the only reason why that fight went down. And it didn't go down the way Dana went because they're going to be able to wear whatever they want. Yeah, he procured Conor Ben. He got Edgar Berlanga. Nobody cared about Edgar Berlanga. People really didn't even care about Richardson Hitchens. Is it a spot for some guys over at Zuffa? Yeah. People who, deserve to get paid a little bit more, but are getting put on the back burner. Why? Because they represented a threat to the other guys, the major players in the game. Believe it or not, Richardson Hitchens presented a threat to Devin. You can take it or leave it. And I'm not on the side of trying to back or support or cover up for Richardson Hitchens right now. He's not on my good side, even though he was one of my guys. He still is in my heart of hearts. He still is. I just can't condone the move. But that's what this is. This was just a play to get any piece that could make a big fight and make the powers that be that's already established bigger than what they already are. They wanted to sink their teeth into the game, right, and take it over. But they did it in a backhanded way. They say you get more bees with honey. They came in with vinegar. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they can cry me a river. They can try to do the hostile takeover, but I think that they are taking their lumps, taking their bruises, and it's not going away, especially with Devin signing the DAZN. That was the last thing. Now Shakur's stuck, but he got his money. He got tricked off on him. He a sugar baby now. But guess what? That sugar daddy gonna want some sugar. And that's gonna be El Rayo, a very dangerous fight. That fight ain't no blowout. That ain't no 70-30. That's more like a 55-45. Because El Rayo went back to the drawing board and worked on himself. But all of these guys are getting into spots to where I said, yeah, y'all keep doing all that maneuvering. You're gonna fuck around and get yourself in the spot to where you're gonna have to fight somebody and you might not be up for it. You might get your ass busted. That's what we're getting ready to see. Moving on to Errol Spence, man. I took the high road approach when it came down to Errol Spence. I believe that he deserves all the respect of a unified 3-strap champion who arguably lost to the #1 pound-for-pound guy. And we know he wasn't himself when he got into that fight. Every other culture will get behind their guy and figure out reasons and why to support. It's still people that will argue with you tooth and nail about Tszyu, as racist as he was and is at times. They'll still get behind him and say, oh, yeah, even though he just showed us that he pretty much kept his hands in his pockets against Shakur. He wasn't worried about getting no concussion or nothing about Shakur. He just put his hands in his pocket. He still have diehard fans that's going to want to see him. Berlanga got his ass busted by Hamza Shiraz. He still got all these Puerto Ricans that's looking to see him, but Errol Spence, a 3-strap champ, who never ducked and dodged, who don't even take tune-ups. Even when his fans say, hey, man, it's all right to take a little tune-up because you've been out for a while. He like, nah, I don't get down like that. I'm going to keep that same energy. He don't get no respect. These things should not be so. Why? Because if you were looking for tomorrow, the fighters of tomorrow, you would want them to do what Errol Spence did. Seeking the smoke, seeking the challenges, not taking no easy road, hanging in there, being patient. Look at what he had to give up and do when he came down to making a fight with Bud. Look how Bud got lit off of him and then said that man, he ain't getting in the Hall of Fame, and said all this disrespectful shit, right? And then only for Earl to be the bigger man and actually go over there and train with that man and do that. You want your fighter to be more like Errol Spence than these other guys that's running around like divas. And we're not going to forget, you can let all these like people that just are Bud fans or Boots fans or whatever fans, you only fans. You know what I'm saying? These only fans of these other fighters who they only like this guy and they want this other guy to go up under a rock and die and all this, like, bump all of that. You want your guy to act more like Errol Spence. If your guy acted more like and moved more like Errol Spence, we would get the fights that we wanted. And I always say, stop me when I'm lying, but you can't. You can't. I don't know. We don't know. We're not going to know. Just like Bernard Hopkins say, the ring is going to be the lie detector. And we're going to know when he get in the ring. I'm just saying, listen, man. Put some respect on Errol Spence's name. He ain't got to be your favorite guy. But it's a shame that you have people co-signing and saying all these things and all this. And the car accident. Well, guess what? He had the car accident before even fought Bud. That's a mute point. I always say this, Manny Pacquiao got face planted, and people still to this day people would sign up, spend money, catch flights just to go see him. If him and Tank fight, they're gonna sign up, catch flights, book hotels, put on their Sunday's best and come out and see him to this day. How many times he got knocked out? How many times he done lost? Ugas put pause on him. His fans still want to see him, but Errol Spence can't get no love. This is bigger than just, you know what I'm saying? This is bigger than that not being your style of fighter, or, you know, or you thinking that somebody was better and all. It's bigger than that. And I've been trying to tell y'all, don't be a pawn in somebody else's game. Because it is a war going on. It's a war going on with the media. It's a war going on between casuals and hardcores. It's a war going on between content creators. And some people just gonna say and do whatever the fuck they want just to get a like, a click, a view, just to get a couple hee ha ha, just to have a whole bunch of people sitting around having water cooler talk. Ain't moving the sport nowhere. They're not progressing the sport nowhere. You know, our sport is, you know, it's in a hairy situation. Be careful where you put your energy. You know what I'm saying? There's channels like this that's going to say, look, man, let's relax. Let's calm down. Let's take a measured approach. Let's look at this comprehensively. These guys do get hit in the head for a living. Our sport is getting anemic. You know, hardcores, I said this almost 2 years ago. I said hardcore fans are on life support right now. Hardcore fans are the salt of this boxing community, where we get you in between these fights. But where are you putting your energy toward? Are you progressing the sport? Or are you taking it back? Are you selling us up the river? Because hindsight will always be 2020. The biggest channel that sold us up the river, that sold a lot of fans up the river with this Turkey. After it was all said and done, he was like, I'm pissed off with Turkey. You know, he don't really want the big fight. Because no, it's like you saw this all along. You were just playing the game. Why? Because it's about the money. You're not going to get that over here. You're going to get fruits and veggies, not that Reggie, that fact-based content, not opinion-based. Even though we have ours. We can agree to disagree. You can get up here and we can go head to head. I promise you the mute button is broke. So we love this sport, man. We put time, effort, and energy in this sport. Always say we're not the McDonald's, we're not the 7-Eleven. This is like a novelty bookstore where you come in, you know what I'm saying? If you're patient, if you listen, you'll learn. You'll be able to put something in your rucksack and take it on to your next boxing conversation. We respect all these boxers. Do we have guys that are favorites? Yes. Do we have guys that we don't care for? Yes. But overall, we care about the vitality of the sport. Once that starts getting compromised, man, we looking at WWE, WWF. That's what it is. It's scripted. We already know fights are fixed. And we know that media people have their agendas. Don't be a respecter of boxers. Don't be a respecter of promotional companies. They say God is not a respecter of persons. Don't be a respecter of boxers. Don't allow your boxer to get away with some shit that you'll crucify the next man for. Or you'll be mum and silent about it. I always say silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we got to speak to the things in the sport of boxing that need to be spoken to. We say go where everybody know your name. They always glad you came, and they always sing your praise, and then come here. But we gotta say, you might learn something. You know what I'm saying? We serious about this, man. But we have our fun. We have our laughs. You know, positive vibes to Errol Spence, man. Positive vibe to Errol Spence. I like the way he looking. I like the way he talking. He look sharp. He look fast. He don't look stiff. I don't know what this narrative is, you know. And let's just wait and see what this Devin implication is with this, with him signing to the zone. Because if it don't lead to a Keyshawn fight, and Keyshawn, you know, go back and he try to get it on with Frank Martin, I'ma salute Frank Martin for landing something that he wanted. But like, to me, both of them two, the Linguini brothers, they'll be suckers in my book. I don't care what you say. And the link will be available. It's always available. It's at your request. But hopefully Tszyu put up a valiant effort. You know what I'm saying? I got my man going over there to the land down under, Aussie style, and putting in that work. You know what I'm saying? We had a wonderful episode, man. Thanks for everybody who came through and supported the channel with a like, a comment, a salute, you know, any kind of input. I appreciate it. We are monetized. Support the channel. Super chat, Cash App, hype the video if you can't do none of that. Like the video, subscribe, share it. You know what I'm saying? I think we getting ready to do this thing where they got this thing. They sent me an email today. We reached 275,000 views, and that's for the that's why I called it the 300. You know what I'm saying? For the size of the channel we still get the views. It don't be 200 or 300 people looking at these videos. That's just nobody. No, it'd be a lot of other content creators, a lot of people that's in the business. They don't be casuals, because we don't really have nothing for the casuals over here. You know what I'm saying? We eat casuals for dinner. So support the channel, man, because if channels like this and other channels that I frequent, that I be giving my time, effort, and energy to, if we go away, if those channels go away, you're gonna be stuck with McDonald's, man. Just trying to tell you. Y'all know I can talk that boxing all day and all night. But thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.